It's time to get the engines fired up and go racing Atlanta style.
Buckle up for the second race of the season.
Let's go racing, boys!
Will anyone be able to knock Jimmy Johnson off the Atlanta throne?
Jimmy Johnson wins. The king of mile-and-a-half tracks, the most all-time of any driver.
It's the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500 right now on Fox.
Perfect day for racing in Atlanta. Temperatures in the high 60s. A few high clouds. Maybe a little overcast later. It's the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500 on Fox. Let's have a look at the starting lineup. Kevin Harvick will start from the pole. The first of his 35 wins came here in 01. And Ryan Newman, 7 poles here. It's his 11th front row start.
I like Ricky Stenhouse today. Jeff talked about dirt racers. He's one of those guys that could be really good on this track today.
Well, I like row 3. Brad Keselowski showed a lot of speed. Both of these Penske cars have a lot of short run speed.
I like this Kyle Larson kid. Another reason why. I guarantee he'll lead this race. He'll be right up next to that wall, scuffing that wall. That kid could pull it off.
Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex, they will share the 5th row.
And in row 6, we got Dale Earnhardt Jr. He finished second in this race a year ago. Look for this to be a real confidence builder. And Chase Elliott coming off the great run at Daytona.
There's your 1-2 finish, or your 2-1 finish in the Daytona 500. Ryan Blaney second. Kurt Busch, the 500 winner. Trevor Bayne, top 10 last week. And Matt Kenseth, one of 5 active tracks he's not yet won on. Paul Menard had a top 5 at Daytona, along with 5-time Atlanta winner Jimmy Johnson.
Why don't we dial up Jimmy Johnson? Hey, Jimmy, this is Jeff Gordon up in the Fox Sports booth. Buddy, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. That's clear.
Man, we talk about this track being a real driver's track. You know, drivers like yourself, the best in the business, excel here. What is it that you do that allows you to excel here?
I think this track fits certain drivers and certainly certain teams and styles that crew chiefs and teams have. As you know, our Hendrick stuff's always been really good here. And then you couple that with my dirt background. This is the closest it gets to dirt racing, in my opinion. I think we're even off the ground a few times with some of the jumps and the turns. So I love this place, and we're looking forward to a great race with the low Chevy today.
Well, speaking of dirt track racing, we saw you sliding around in practice, but boy, right there towards the end of practice, it looked like you got the car dialed in. You feel like you have what it takes to go get 3 in a row?
Yeah, I really liked how the car is driven. There's that feeling you look for, and I've had it. The last 2 years we've been able to have it. Didn't necessarily show the short run speed, but you know, when the pay window opened, we were where we needed to be. So I'm hoping for more of that today. I'm really excited about just getting out here and get to work.
All right, buddy. Well, we're looking forward to watching. Good luck.
Thanks, bud.
He was talking. I'm sorry, Mike.
Excuse me. Let's get downstairs to pit road, beginning with Matt Yoakum.
Mike, during the offseason, Joey Logano's team analyzed their pit stop data. It consistently showed the first stop was the slowest last year. The reason they were too conservative on their lug nut torquing number, they dropped that. A wheel issue in the clash they thought was a spacer problem. Popped up again in the 500. So the loose lugs was a result of just too low of number. They've adjusted that, not expecting any issues with loose wheels on this first run. Jamie Little?
Local driver Chase Elliott has had one busy weekend. He was a guest analyst for us for the Xfinity race. Then he raced in the Truck Series last night, and he's put in a lot of work in this Cup car as well. He was fastest in final practice, and I talked to the team. Alan Gustafson said the one concern we have is getting that car to run up high and doing it well. If we can do that, the 24 could get to victory lane today. Vince Welch?
Brad Keselowski is 0 for 8 here at Atlanta, but he may be one of the favorites today. Crew Chief Paul Wolfe says this is the best car they have brought here. And a telltale sign maybe have been Brad's performance yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. He ran very well, and then afterwards he said, we don't need to make any changes to our Cup car today at all. Brad K looking for his first win at Atlanta. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Vince, these drivers are going to be very busy for 500 miles, but the pit crew's busy. A lot of 4-tire pit stops, and the crew chiefs, a lot of adjustments. Mike Joyce said it about the weather, absolutely perfect. A little overcast, a little partly cloudy. There you see it in the high 60s track temp, 105 degrees, just a slight wind. Here's your race analysis now. 325 laps, 500 miles. The first two stages, 85 laps. Final stage, 155 laps. Pit road speed, 45 miles per hour. The fuel window, 46 to 52. But the tire window, 38 to 42. I think that's a little bit of a conservative number. I think it'll even be shorter than that. Mike?
Thanks, Larry. Ready to race in Atlanta, where pre-sale tickets were up 20%, and there were long lines at every ticket booth for the walk-up crowd this morning. Not a packed house, but close to it. Very strong crowd as we get ready to race.
Now, Mike, we're going to do a little slip sliding away today. These boys and girls are going to come to the line here. I know the fans are. Look at this place, packed. I love it. What a great crowd. Let's get these guys started. What do you say? Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. Drivers.
Already 3 wide going into turn 1. You're going to see a lot of wheel spin on those restarts, especially that outside lane here today. Look at this action on lap 1.
No surprise, Denny Hamlin right up, riding the rim.
Whoa, contact
22.
down the back. 22 and the 1, I think, got together.
Yeah, you see McMurray lost a lot of momentum right there.
Joey Logano, who started 6th, and Jamie Max started 7th. Who will lead lap 1? Kevin Harvick going away with Kyle Busch.
Got to be real careful here. Early laps, low air pressure. You make contact with another car. We've seen some tires go down here in the early stages of a run.
But I like the track because we had 2 races here yesterday. The track is rubbered up. This track's in good shape. That 4 car doing what he does well. Run that bottom right on that yellow line.
Oh, Kyle Larson getting a little bit loose. We're going to see a lot of that. We talked about this. Less downforce, smaller rear spoiler. These cars are going to be dancing around all day long. And guys like Kyle Larson, they'll be dirt tracking just like they do before they got to the Cup Series.
Let's go back to the contact between the 6th and 7th place starters.
Whoa, Jamie Max just pushed up the hill and got into the side of Joey Logano into 22.
Yeah, but you know, that was Denny Hamlin in the outside lane that made it 3 wide through 1 and 2. I don't think that McMurray knew that they were 3 wide at that point.
Sort of picking up where we left off last week.
Yes, we are.
Little contact already.
Yeah, I'd just be a little bit concerned with that left rear. I don't know that he got that the 22 is going to have any damage, but there could possibly be some damage to the left rear of the 22, Joey Logano.
I think in these early stages, Mike and Jeff, these guys are feeling these cars out. The rear spoiler on this car is the smallest we've had in years and years. The downforce on the back of the cars, not as much as we've had in the past. Kind of got to get a feel for these things. What are they going to do when we're around other cars?
So you can see a little bit of damage to the left rear fender well just in front of the left rear tire, but I don't see any tire rub, so we might be okay.
Rub the letters off of it.
Wheel to wheel is okay. It's when that splitter, that right front fender gets into the left rear. That's what cuts a tire. Now this is what you're going to see all day long here, folks, is being able to paint that yellow line. If you can get your left side tires down on the yellow line, especially through 3 and 4, is a lot of speed to be gained.
And then what I always wait for, Mike, it always happens. Somebody back in the field will start to run that high line. They'll get up next to that wall, and the first thing you know, here they come. And when they get to the front, everybody says, how did he pass me? He went high.
There's a pass for 2nd place. Ryan Newman going to the outside of the 18 of Kyle Busch. Now, talking about the outside lane, DW, here's what I'd be concerned with. There's more rubber on the inside lane, less on the outside. So a little bit more grip up top right now, and you can find some early speed. But, boy, you're going to use your tires up a lot more. We know how important tire wear is here.
Now, Ryan Newman started outside pole, but yesterday in both races, we saw the outside lane having difficulty on starts and restarts to get going. So he did not get the jump on the opening green that race leader Kevin Harvick did.
But it's good to see Newman up there. I mean, this team has struggled. Newman hadn't won since Indy in 2013, and I don't think Childress has won since Harvick left there. So good to see this car running up front today.
But Mike, yeah, absolutely. Mike, DW, I think those restarts, that outside lane is going to play a big factor in this race today.
Well, already drivers are talking about running the high groove. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Definitely people making up time on the high side through 1 and 2 only. Yeah, I just don't want to work the tires that hard up here. It's in first, but you know.
Boy, nobody knows more about running that high line and what it does to the tires early in a run or early in this race than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, we heard them talking yesterday in practice, Jeff, that you run high in 1 and 2 and low in 3 and 4, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. Cars are migrating up to the top in 1 and 2, but still hanging the bottom in 3 and 4.
Now, Joey Logano runs in 8th, but there might have been some contact with somebody that's damaged the nose of that car, Matt.
Mike, they're monitoring the cosmetic damage to the 22, but so far okay. Todd Gordon told me that at the beginning of final practice, Joey Logano wanted to go to the high side early. He said, no, we need to be disciplined. I want you to run every lap on the bottom. When we have 2 laps to go, I'll tell you, then you can go up top. It's going to be much faster in the long run for our consistent car if we can make it work on the bottom. Don't try to go to the high side for that instant grip.
One thing I worry about the 22, we see Martin Truex Jr. here trying to get by Kyle Busch. That's for 4th place. But that 22, Mike, we've heard a lot of people complain about front downforce. He lost a lot with that fender being caved in.
Yeah, and then somebody forgot to tell Denny Hamlin not to go the high side 1 and 2. I mean, I think that really surprised the 22 of Joey Logano as 11 goes high and makes that outside move, and they just ran out of racing room on the first corner.
Kurt Busch has been working the high side. He started 13th. He is currently 10th.
270 water. No grip here. It's over here. It's okay. Track bar down 0.3. This is all like roller skates again. Good more, buddy. Doing good here.
I don't want to hear any complaining now, these guys, and I'll tell you why, because this is what they said they wanted. They want cars that are in it. They want this race to be in the driver's hands. They want the cars to be hard to drive. They like this worn-out surface, so you got what you got.
Sounds to me like Kurt Busch is wanting some track position.
He wants some help.
When Kevin Harvick comes around, it'll be 12 laps complete. On lap 13, fans will be holding up a folded flag. The significance of the number 13 goes to the folds on the flag.
DW, look at this.
Yes, sir.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr., you called it earlier that he looked like he might have a car that could run up front. He's in 2nd place.
I just feel good about what the Roush Fenway guys have been able to put together. They were great at Daytona. Didn't get the results, but they look good here. They qualified Will Stenhouse and Bain both, and this is not a big surprise to me.
The folds of honor, built on the 13 folds of the flag, a folded U.S. flag, is given to family members of the fallen.
Grab an ice-cold Coke and buckle up. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
17 laps. Danica Patrick is up 5 positions from where she started the race. So is her teammate there in the 14, Clint Boyer. Eric Jones and Cody Ware have gained 6. David Reagan, who brushed the wall in qualifying, plus 10, and Cole Witt has gained 11 spots from where he started.
You saw right there, Danica Patrick just couldn't quite keep it on the bottom on the yellow line, and that allowed Boyer to get to the yellow line and make the pass.
Here's 9th place, Denny Hamlin and Kurt Busch. Vince?
You know, it's always a little bit different the week after winning the Daytona 500. You know, you'd like to celebrate. That wasn't the case for this team back at work on Monday. And crew chief Tony Gibson became a little bit of a television star with his raw emotion after winning the Daytona 500 last week. You know, he was the car chief on Jeff Gordon's car when he won the 500 in '99. But Tony told me today it's a lot different when you're in the crew chief seat. He said, I worked my whole life to be a Cup crew chief, and to be able to do it, it was like a dream. But the best moment of all was calling his mom and dad afterwards, and his dad telling him, son, you did it.
That's great. Tony also was the car chief when Alan Kulwicki won the Cup championship here in the last race of 1992.
That victory circle with Kurt and Tony both, it was heart-wrenching, I'm telling you.
Tony's been around this sport a long time, loves races, worked extremely hard. He was a car chief for me in 1999, the 24 car. Great story, great to see.
Those guys were at DEI. They all came from DEI. That team is stuck together. Tony has kept them all together.
You know, watching Joey Logano on that 22 car and looking at his lap times, it's not hurt the performance. But one thing I questioned, and I talked at the top of the show about a lot of pit stops, is that going to hinder getting that right front tire off under a stop?
Kyle Busch right behind him has fallen from 3rd to 7th.
Just before I get off the line, it pulls me off the line, and then there's no forward.
Yeah, so basically he's fighting both side bite and forward bite. That is not a good sign here at Atlanta. So, I mean, they might be able to make some adjustments, air pressure and some other wedge adjustments and things that might help them out there. But you can't judge what happens off this first run. This track changes tremendously as rubber gets laid down.
Well, if you're a fan of long green flag runs, you've come to the right place. Last year, the first 210 laps of this race were run without a caution flag.
And Mike, I think there's a good reason why. Like I said earlier, these guys are sorting these things out. They got to kind of figure out what they got. This is a totally different package than they raced here last year. So aero-wise, it's different. They know they got to manage the tires, and we know we got a stage coming. So there's a lot of things that they're dealing with today that maybe will cause them to kind of do what they're doing.
Looks like Martin Truex Jr. slowed up a bunch, but actually he was just checking up a little bit early and letting that other car go by him.
Now,
Keselowski went by him.
In the upper left of your screen is the distance of stage 1. 62 laps to go. The first 2 stages are each 85 laps.
Most everybody I talked to, and I don't know about you, Jeff, but they talked about doing it in half. Do about 40 to 42 laps and then try to make it 40 to 42 laps to the end.
But this is what I love about stages, Mike and DW, is that you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to see some long green flag runs, probably some green flag stops, but then we're going to get the caution and we're going to slow things down in the stage, reward points, and put fresh tires on.
Jamie?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hanging there in 2nd position. I talked to him right before he got in the car, and he just had a big smile on his face. It was like Ricky of old. He said he loves this place. It suits his driving style. He loves being that wrecking loose feeling every lap. He said he just loves it. And his new crew chief, Brian Patty, they're really linking together well. They have great chemistry. This weekend, they've barely made any changes to this race car. It's been that good. Short and long speed, as we're seeing here in the 17.
So, Jeff, how does racing at 100 miles an hour on a half-mile dirt track, which Stenhouse has done a lot of, how does that help you go 190 miles an hour on a worn-out asphalt track?
And we heard it out of Kyle Busch. It's all about car control and getting that forward bite. How do you manage the wheel spin? As you go to the corner, the back wants to step out, as we just saw right there with Matt Kenseth off of turn 4. You've got to try to keep the car to go straight, but at these speeds, it is so tough. It takes the most talent out of the driver and skill to be able to do what they're doing.
Mike, as this race unfolds, I always look at the crew chief. A lot of these guys have got a plan A, but they don't have a plan B. Brian Patty, that 17 cars crew chief, he's a gambler. And I think a gambler just could win this race.
Hey, speaking of gambling, now I agree, Darrell. An 85-lap stage 1, split it in the middle, run 42 and then 43 laps. But I'm seeing over 3 seconds of give up already after 27 laps. I would not be a bit surprised to see them divided up into thirds, which means somewhere around 28 to 32 laps. If we may see a driver peel off, and once one comes, you cannot be far behind.
Yeah, that's what takes all that strategy right out the window, doesn't it, Larry? All of a sudden, somebody short pits, and it's a whole new game.
All right, let's get down to Matt Yoakum for a nationwide Dale Jr. performance report.
Mike, an issue had developed on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Chevrolet. He reported to the team that he had no driver comfort blowers, no AC blowing into the helmet, into the back of the seat, at the feet. Greg Ives and Adam Jordan, who's the interior specialist, they discussed different options. Then they got a game plan, relayed it to Junior. They wanted him to shut everything down in the driver comfort area because they work on a relay switch system. They think that system may have spiked. So they powered down, powered back up, all's good.
Nothing like a reboot.
There's a lot of electronics inside these cars now, and boy,
said no one ever when you raced.
Power down, yeah. You got
Kevin Harvick has led all of the 29 laps so far in Atlanta. 34 laps complete. Kyle Busch running 17th, was the first to pit road. Now Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch are in. A.J. Allmendinger, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, Jamie McMurray, and Clint Boyer. More coming.
Once one comes, here they all come.
Jamie?
Chase Elliott coming in. He said when he ran up top for a few laps, it really hurt his tires. He's been trying to keep it down low. 4 tires here, just a little adjustment to help the handling, but overall, not bad.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., too fast entering in 4 different pit road segments. Matt.
And Mike, the 14 of Clint Boyer on pit road. He spent about an hour this morning with Kevin Harvick just trying to improve his line here at Atlanta. Loose, Vince.
Brad Keselowski pretty happy with the 2 car, said it's actually been good considering they started on 6-lap old scuffs, just 4 tires. Matt.
22 is in. Let's see if they try to fix that cosmetic damage during the stop. Nothing on the right side. Hatcher waiting to get that tire on, hits the lugs, and he's away.
Your top 10 have not pitted. Harvick, Stenhouse, Truex, Newman, Hamlin, the top 5.
Mike, I don't believe I would have done much of that 22. He was running well, and he was moving up a little bit, so no need in worrying with that fender right now.
So Jimmy Johnson pits from 7th, and Matt Kenseth is too fast entering. Jamie.
Well, we haven't seen the raw speed from the 48 this weekend, but Jimmy told me he wasn't concerned. That's what he expects when he comes here anymore. They have that good long run speed, but starting off in this run, just too loose, surprisingly loose. So you saw the wrench in the back windshield there. They're going to tighten him up just a bit for the 48.
Harvick and Stenhouse and Truex are on pit road. Jamie?
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. car's been good. He was just getting a little bit loose, and then it would get tight on him. Finished top 10 here a year ago. Plans on doing that again. Has a great car, Matt.
Kevin Harvick's team is in. They're already over on the left side. Chassis adjustments to try to tighten up his number 4. He adjusted with the track bar adjuster inside the car. Still needed to work some looseness out.
Reed Sorensen, the Atlanta native, comes to pit lane. That car was black when it showed up here Friday. Now it's bright yellow. Got a brand new sponsor. Repainted it overnight. Vince.
Here comes Denny Hamlin. Said other than it being a little bit tight through the center, he's been pretty pleased with it. It's going to be a 4-tire change, air pressure adjustment. Solid start for the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
Eric Jones is in. Matt Kenseth serves his penalty. Derek Cope running his first Cup race in only his 2nd race in this decade. He's in the 55. He's in. And here comes Ryan Newman. He'll surrender the lead after 2 laps out in front in his Chevrolet.
Mike, after that pit stop, I watched the 4 and the 17 lead pit road. The distance between them was about the same when they came in until Harvick hit the end of pit road. He took off. The 17 just didn't keep up, and he lost a bunch of time getting up to speed. Stenhouse in the 17.
David Reagan also in. Matt.
Mike, Chase Masterson, Jake Lynn going to work, changing those tires. Newman was reporting in the car was loose early, improved somewhat. You can see a nice clean of the grill, and he's away.
David Reagan briefly picked up the lead in the 38, and now his teammate at Front Row Motorsports, Landon Castle, is the race leader. Interesting legend on the taillight panel of Castle's car. Tie goes to the train. You don't race trains to grade crossings. As Castle makes his stop, we'll cycle back to Kevin Harvick as the race leader. Let's watch Harvick as he came to pit road.
Really aggressive entering, and I watched he in the 17, as I said, as they left pit road. They were right together, but right now Harvick's about 6 seconds ahead.
Yeah, right as that left front tire got to the apron, he pulled it around, and he almost lost the back end getting there.
He was really aggressive entering and exiting.
Here's a battle for 2nd. We see Keselowski and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott was one of the earlier cars to be on pit road, so he gained a lot on the leaders, but now that having older tires is going to, kind of allow that car to fade some of those others to come to the front.
Chase has had a busy 2 days. We'll describe that in a bit. 4th place, Joey Logano and Kurt Busch.
You know what I'd say about Joey Logano? Don't you touch that right front fender, because he's going somewhere.
Right now, including the 2 leaders, 7 of the top 10 are Fords. 2 Chevys and Martin Truex's Toyota make up the top 10 after 1 round of green flag stops.
And Kurt Busch is another one of those cars that came pretty early, made some big gains. Now he's got to see how good his car is going to be on the long run.
Kevin Harvick, your leader after 42 laps. 47 laps to go. Ryan Blaney making his second stop. This would be unscheduled stop under green. Vince?
Yeah, they felt like they had a right front tire going down, so certainly a bad break for Ryan Blaney, who finished second last week at the Daytona 500.
Kevin Harvick is your race leader over Brad Keselowski. Let's get today's AARP keys to the drive.
Well, you know, here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, this is an abrasive track. Grip is at a premium, so crew chiefs choosing when to pit for 4 tires is critical. The best drivers, they know how to slide the car around these big, fast corners without abusing those tires to be there at the end when it counts. And finally, restarts. Restarting on the inside line is going to be a distinct advantage and could play a big role in determining today's winner.
Well, today's stage racing, we know we will have a caution at lap 85 for the end of stage 1, and again 85 laps later. So Harvick's back to the lead. His last lap on old tires, 33.9. His first lap on new tires, Matt, 31.3, a pickup of 2.6 seconds for new tires.
Mike, at one point, Harvick's team were up on the wall ready for him to pit early because he felt like an issue had developed on his right front, possibly going down, but he decided to ride it out. Came in, the team looked at the tires, they were fine. I looked at the Goodyear Eagles off Joey Logano's car, just some slight wear, which is very typical, especially on the first run here in Atlanta.
13th place. Clint Boyer, Denny Hamlin, Austin Dillon. Now they're racing about 16 seconds behind race leader Kevin Harvick.
You know, when it comes to green flag pit stops, it's everybody that plays a role. It's the pit crew on the pit stop, but it's the driver getting on the pit road and off pit road. Now, this is our 2 laps, including the green flag pit stop. You see right there, Joey Logano in that 22 group, they were the quickest on those 2 laps. Their pit stop was 12.37. The quickest stop of these 5 drivers was Austin Dillon's 3 team, just a little over 12 seconds flat.
And that, Larry, I think is one big reason why Logano was 7th or so at the beginning of the pit stop cycle. He's now 4th.
And he was one of the guys to come fairly early to get those fresh tires.
Kevin Harvick has led 49 now of 52 laps. He's got a 1.4 second lead. There's Brad Keselowski in second. Chase Elliott in third, 2.3 seconds back. We mentioned Logano, the 22 is 4th, 3.6 off of the lead. Ricky Stenhouse 5th in the 17, 5.7 back. And a lap car and Kurt Busch. Busch is in 6th place, about 7 seconds back of the leader. Then Martin Truex, who's roughly 9 seconds down to the lead. We'll see Kyle Larson 12 seconds back in 8th place in his Chip Ganassi Chevrolet. And then Ryan Newman. Newman was 4th before the pit stop cycle. He is now 9th. Some of that may be that he pitted 2 laps after race leader Kevin Harvick went longer on those worn slower tires.
And that should come back to benefit him once we go to the end of this stage.
One thing these guys have kind of caught a break today, it's a little overcast, so the sun's not beaming down into turn 1 down here in their eyes like we saw in practice.
.60 laps complete. Kevin Harvick leading. Let's see how the Coca-Cola family of drivers are faring with Logano and Newman in the top 5. Daniel Suarez, Eric Jones, a rookie in 17th. Suarez in 24th right now.
These 500-mile races is a whole new adventure for Daniel Suarez. Last week he said it's going to be the longest race of his career. Here we are again this week, another 500-miler. And he was worried about conditioning. He said, these are the longest races I've ever run in my life. So he was a little worried.
Kevin Harvick remains one of the 3 fastest cars on the racetrack.
You make any adjustments here? Yeah, we put a little bit of wedge in the left rear. I just don't like the direction that it's sitting in the front end. I think we need to put that back and do something different.
Crew Chief Rodney Childers with Kevin.
I'm just amazed when you go in the in-car camera right here. Look how smooth Kevin Harvick is. I mean, he just looks so relaxed. Heck, on the straightaways, he's putting his hand down on his leg and relaxed. I mean, that's a guy with confidence and a car that's handling really well. But we did hear him say he wants to get that adjustment out because maybe they lost the front end a little bit. Matt?
Jeff, a great shot of that digital dash on the right side of the screen. And one thing that Harvick worked on in the offseason was visually trying to improve that quickly so he can look at it going down the straightaways. He and Max Pappas at MPI Steering Wheels came up with a one-of-a-kind steering wheel. Still a 15-inch steering wheel, but what he's done is made the bottom of the wheel flatter and the top with a slight flat curve. That way he can get a better visual look of that digital dash, and it's all about driver comfort, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, all those things are extremely important, and being able to see all those gauges, that's the one downside of the digital dash is you can't put the gauges exactly where you want them so that you can see them all very clear.
I like that bottom of the steering wheel being a little flatter because I've seen it. And I remember it's probably happened to you. The belts they use today, not so much, but you could rub the steering wheel on your seat belts.
Here comes A.J. Allmendinger on to pit road.
Yeah, this may be the group that's breaking it into thirds. Now remember, the first driver to pit earlier was Kyle Busch in the 18. But when I look at the guys that pitted late like Harvick, Truex, Stenhouse, Hamlin, Eric Jones, and Newman, they're probably going to try to make it to the end of this stage without stopping.
It's certainly a great advantage speed-wise having those fresh tires, but boy, big risk by coming down pit road while we're still under greening, just in case that caution comes out. Great view out the front, Allmendinger's car, and out the back. Now let's stay on board here and see the difference between new tires versus old tires.
Right here is where you'll see it when he gets to the corner.
Watch him catch how fast he's going to catch the 22 new Logano. That's what new tires do for you here at Atlanta. Huge difference in speed.
Poor Mr. Feelgoods makes you feel like Superman.
Now, the downside for Allmendinger is he is now 2 laps down to the leader as a result of that extra stop.
Yeah, that's the risk you take by coming down pit road. It's a long pit road. You got to really get it slowed down because this place is slick. But boy, once you get out there, you've got a lot of making up to do, and you can do it with 4 fresh tires, just as we're seeing right here.
Well, that's when you have to, when you've got tires the other guy doesn't, you got to be careful. You'll run over somebody.
His teammate Chris Buescher also came in, and now Michael McDowell in the pit lane. Winding down stage number 1, which ends at 85 laps. So we'll go side by side with Kevin Harvick leading Brad Keselowski by 2.5 seconds.
Get the ball inside early. We're just moments away from adding a new chapter to college basketball's most storied rivalry.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. At my office, they call me Boss Man. I scout the talent, close the deals, do it all with a firm handshake. Gentlemen, to others, I'm Water Cooler Dale. Hey guys, have y'all seen the pictures of Janet's baby? Oh, yeah. So cute. It's so cute. Oh, man. Yes, the dimples. Unreal. For protecting your small business and more, Nationwide is on your side.
Okay, that's a one-piece breast, $5. Pot pie costs you $5. That's a famous bowl, 5 bills. Tenders for a $5, and that's my 2-piece original recipe, also $5. That's 5 real meals, each for $5. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Kevin Harvick continues to lead. 12 laps now from the end of stage number 1. You saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. pit with a flat tire. Ryan Blaney come in again. Ty Dillon make a stop. A lot of different strategies in play to get through this first stage. Now you see some shredding there on the right rear tire of Dale Earnhardt Jr. after it had gone flat. Wow, Ryan Blaney with new tires just flying right through that group of cars.
One thing I like about Harvick, nobody can run where he runs. He's kind of in a lane all of his own. Left wheel's just down below the yellow line on both ends of the racetrack. Real low.
Yeah, DW, the only thing that's caught him out in the past is short runs. I mean, yes, last year, a short pit by the 48 team got them in front of this 4 car. Then they had some brake issues, but in the past, he's dominated like this. But when it comes down to a short run and he's glued to the bottom, some of those other cars with options and a car that can move to the middle or to the high line seems to take advantage of him late in the race. So this thing's anything but over.
Oh, yeah.
So, Larry, right now, we're at a point where every one of these top 10 cars have now run at least as many laps on their second set of tires as they did on their first.
Yeah, and they all were within their fuel window, Mike, and I just feel like that you've went this deep into the stage. The plan is to run it to the end and then get 4 tires when we get to the end of the stage 1.
And wouldn't you think, Larry, as well, is they expected more tire wear, more fall off that first time out. Those were scuffed tires from qualifying, and the track's more abrasive because it's a little cleaner. Now it has rubber laid down. They probably thought that this set of tires would last them to the end and be a little bit better.
Yeah, the give up is not quite as significant this run as it was that first run.
Yeah, and I think when other teams start to pit early on, you don't want to get caught out. So I think that had a little bit of it to do with the strategy as well.
So Brad Keselowski second, 4.6 back. Chase Elliott closing in on the second place car. Jamie?
And he's running third. And Jeff, going back to what you were saying about the different lines, Chase all weekend long was talking about running that bottom line, running just like Kevin Harvick. But his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, isn't sold. He ran here with you, Jeff, and he won a lot of races. So he said running the top, he thinks, is the best way around. But that 24, the balance is better down low. And by the way, the 24 has had a little brake shake.
Well, it's interesting because we heard Kevin Harvick in practice talk about a little bit of a brake shake. And you know what? Don't forget, Chase Elliott was sort of like teammates with Kevin Harvick at Junior Motorsports when Kevin would come and drive for Junior Motorsports. And he was a student of one of the best around this track. He told me that he studied and he spoke to Kevin Harvick to learn his technique and what he does to make that bottom work so well. So he is committed to it, and he's doing a darn good job of it right now as well.
And he may just pass that orange number 2 for second place here, Vince.
Well, Brad Keselowski's spotter, Joey Meyer, just came on the radio and he said where Harvick lifts going into 1 and where the rest of the field lifts going into 1, it's monumental. And that's where he's beating everyone, including the 2 right now.
I think it's just one of those classic get off of it early, but get back in it hard and heavy when you come up off the corner. Watch out.
Full throttle right there, upper right.
See there? I mean, he's just past the start-finish line.
Wow. He's really not using any brake.
He got back in it before he got to the middle of the corner.
I actually thought that our sound was off when I first heard that, but no, he's lifting that early, just isn't using any brake and floating it into the corner.
Letting it coast. Coast in.
Aside from the drivers who just took tires, he's the fastest car on the racetrack.
Well, don't forget, though, he was one of the last cars to come onto pit road, so he does have a little bit fresher rubber than some of those around him.
I just thought it was amazing how sensitive he is to that car, though. They put a half a round of wedge in that car, and he recognized that right away. Did you do something to my car?
He just does whatever it takes to get to the yellow line and stay there, and he keeps the left front and left rear on that yellow line longer around the corner than anybody else and drives off the corner straight.
9th place battle here. Hamlin on the inside of Kurt Busch. Vince?
A couple of issues for Denny Hamlin in that 11 early on. After that first run, the crew told him, you've got to take better care of the tires. The left rear was cording way too badly for what we need. Also, they had a dash issue. The digital dash went blank on Denny for a couple of laps, and then all of a sudden it just came back on. So a disaster averted possibly there as well.
Coming to 3 laps to go to the end of stage 1, where the top 10 drivers at the end of the stage receive championship points. That was a big boost to Kevin Harvick at Daytona, and he is leading this stage from the pole right here. Harvick's led 78 of 81 laps.
And his teammate Danica Patrick's running the high line, trying to stay on that lead lap before this stage closes.
Now pit road will close next time by when the leader gets to the start-finish line.
That's amazing how long he's out of the throttle and how far he lets that car roll before he picks up the throttle.
It looks so easy. It sounds so easy. I promise you it's anything but. That is so tough. So much discipline to race
Hey guys,
that way.
Suarez is in. You know what they're doing? They're pitting before pit road close. That means he'll stay out at the end of the stage on 2-lap tires. Jamie.
Yes, and he had just radioed to his crew 2 laps ago. The right rear is gone. He's just been struggling since the start of this race. Just too loose for him. He's focused just on this race this weekend. Carl Edwards helped him on Friday, but this is a lot for a rookie to take in.
Now at the end of the stage at 85 laps, the top 10 drivers stop racing when they cross the line. The caution comes out when the 10th place car gets to the line, because the top 10 finishers in this stage receive points. They don't want to wave that yellow flag until 10th is decided.
We see Denny Hamlin go by Kyle Larson. When I think of a track that takes a lot of discipline, not only Kevin Harvick is excellent in these types of races, so is Denny Hamlin, and he's showing it.
Next time by, the starter will wave a green and white checkered flag indicating the end of stage 1. Here comes Kevin Harvick. Danica Patrick stays on the lead lap, and Jeffrey Earnhardt keeps from losing another lap. 10th place car is Jimmy Johnson. When he crosses the line, we will see the yellow flag. And that will end stage number 1. The pace car will pick everybody up under caution, and then you have the option of pitting. And there's Jimmy Johnson. Yellow flag is out. Kevin Harvick is the stage 1 winner in the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500. Seventeen cars are on the lead lap, led by Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex, and Joey Logano. Pit road lights are still red, so the pits will not open this time. 6 through 10, Ryan Newman, Ricky Stenhouse, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson. Rest of the lead lap cars: Austin Dillon, Kurt Busch, Eric Jones, Trevor Bayne, Clint Boyer, Jamie McMurray, and Danica Patrick are on the lead lap. It's Chevy Truck Month. Get to your local Chevy dealer. Choose the Silverado that's right for you. Chevrolet. Find new roads. Stage one in the books in which most drivers and all lead lap drivers stopped only once, as early as lap 34 and as late as lap 39 in the first stage. We're now at lap 88. The last three run under the first yellow flag laps of the day for the end of stage one. Other than Kevin Harvick hanging the bottom for 85 laps. Anything surprise you about this first stage?
I think Logano really surprised me, because I thought he was going to have trouble with that right front fender, and obviously he's running fifth. That didn't affect his car at all.
Yeah, I also thought Chase Elliott came in early, and I thought that his car would start to fade. So I think that speaks a lot about the speed that's in that car.
All right, pit road will be open this time. Here's Vince.
Brad Keselowski coming in from second place, been pretty happy with it. It was a little free in that first run, so they made an adjustment, but it didn't snug up as much as they hoped. So they'll make another air pressure adjustment on the two here, hoping to tighten it up. As for the 78 of Martin Truex Jr., he enters in fourth place. He said, I'm happy with it. Not sure what to ask for. It's just 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And Chase Elliott said his balance was definitely better there, but he hasn't found that rhythm that he found in practice. Still searching. 4 tires, no adjustments, Matt.
They're going to make an adjustment on the 22. His car was building free as the run went on, but was turning very well. Meanwhile, Harvick's team, Mike Marno, the tire carrier, reversed that wedge adjustment they made on the first stop. Harvick easily beats everybody off pit road.
Kevin Harvick wins the race off pit road. Chase Elliott picks up a spot. Brad Keselowski loses one. Joey Logano picks up one. Martin Truex loses one.
Let's talk to Harv. What do you say? Kevin Harvick, it's DW. Got me, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Man, you are incredible. How are you getting around this place so much better than everybody else? You look great, man.
Yeah, these guys on a Jimmy John's board have just done a great job, getting the balance right. And this is really just one of those places where it's all about rhythm. They allowed me to race yesterday. I felt like we got in a good rhythm in practice and was able to get the pole, and I think that's that was a huge help. So it's just been one of my favorite places. We haven't won as many races as we should have here, but we've led a ton of laps, and just love racing here.
All I know is we got a in-car camera. We see you now if you want to wave to us. And and we watch you, and you're not fighting the wheel like anybody else out there. You're nice and smooth, so keep it up.
Stand for lots of that old Mesa Marin training there. You had to hook the bottom and be easy on the gas.
The boy from Bakersfield comes out. Happy Harvick is in the lead at Atlanta at the end of stage one.
Everybody home, sit back, relax, enjoy the race. It's going to be a good one.
I'm really excited about seeing out here get to work.
No grip here in front over here. This felt like roller skates again. Yeah, I just don't want to work the tires that hard up here. Might have a right front going down here, coming apart. Tires look really, really good. I was 36 laps on them, plus you're qualified.
Uneventful but caution-free stage number one. Kevin Harvick led all but 3 laps. Here's your Ford Performance track facts. Ford won 7 of the first 13 races at Atlanta, which opened in 1960. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville had the Atlanta sweep when this track had 2 races back in 1985 and 1992.
We ran the All-Star race here once.
Guys, when it's going good for you, it's going good everywhere. I want you to watch this pit stop of Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childress' crew. I mean, you're going to see the 2 right side tires come off together, go on together, and then watch the left side. You're going to see them come off at the same time. You're going to see them go back on at the same time. Flawless, 11.77. Everything is working for that 4 car.
And he has the #1 pit stall to just shoot right out. That's bad news for the competition if that continues.
A double whammy for him. Great pit stop and got that #1 pit stall.
Now here's where we're going to find out about the outside lane versus inside lane on these restarts. We've seen a lot of wheel spin. Hard to anticipate that start if you're in that outside lane, but really easy to spin the tires.
Casey Kane got the free pass, so 18 cars will restart on the lead lap. And now they approach the Geico restart zone. Pace car is in. Chase Elliott, big run off turn 2, even with Keselowski, moves ahead for second place. Trouble back straightaway. Corey LaJoie against the wall.
Flat right front tire, I believe.
We stay green.
Tell you, Chase did a pretty nice job on that restart. Lost a little bit of ground, but man, that outside's working for him. And look at Harvick.
Look at Harvick.
Where's he
going?
going?
What happened?
What are you doing?
Oh, wow. I thought something happened to him. I thought maybe he had an issue.
Maybe he overdrove the corner once.
Testing the top, maybe?
He might be looking around.
LaJoie makes it to pit road, but watch Kevin Harvick down in turn 1. Whoa, just...
I mean, he went there. He went up there.
That was intentional.
And here's what I think. I think this is Kevin Harvick planning for the future in this race. He knows if he can't figure out how to run that high line, there's a good chance he might get beat on a late restart.
I think that who's behind him had a lot to do with it too. You take Brad Keselowski. Kevin Harvick does not want Brad Keselowski to go to school on him.
6th place. Joey Logano, Martin Truex.
And this is, I spoke about this in our grid lineup. The Penske cars have always had a lot of short run speed. We see Keselowski tracking down Kevin Harvick. We see Joey Logano in the 22 making a move early. They've not had the long run speed and the tire wear as good as some other, or lack of tire wear, as good as some others, and they've paid that price. Today they seem to have a little bit of both.
Chase Elliott settles in 3rd place, and already he and his team are talking tires.
The U splitter and Kevin's look pretty much identical. And then just let you know, right front, left rear tires are what are wearing out. Right front, left rear, simple.
That's just really good information. You know, this splitter and its contact to the racetrack, especially on new tires and lower air pressure, is critical, and they'll keep communicating that. But what I like is that information about what the tires are doing. That has a lot to do with the driver, how they run that yellow line, how they run multiple different lanes. Each lane you run can use those tires a little bit different.
And you know something else? I think if you think about Stewart-Haas switching over to Fords, and I think that's going to help all the Fords because they bring a lot of information. They bring a lot of technology. I think that's going to help the 2 and the 22 as we go along in the race and as we go into the season.
Back to that restart. Have you discounted the possibility that maybe Kevin Harvick was just messing with Brad Keselowski in his mirror?
No, look, I think that Kevin would like for Brad to say, well, he went high that time. Boy, that's a different different way he's been running the corner. So, yeah, I think it had to do with who was behind him.
I really think his only weakness, his only chink in the armor is that he can't get up off the bottom on these restarts and on these long runs. And so I think he was just filling it out. It was a good opportunity for him to do that.
Here's his teammate, Kurt Busch, currently 15th. Vince?
A little bit of an issue for Kurt from a temperature perspective, but when Dale Jr. had that tire issue before and shredded that tire, some of the rubber got caught in the grill of Kurt Busch's car, and that was causing it to have the temperature rise. That was a little bit of a concern, but on that last stop, they were able to clean it out, made a big difference. Also, they had a slow stop when they did come in. Lug nut hung on the left rear, but they're really not too unhappy with the way the car's handling, other than the issues that they've had elsewhere.
And there you see it 3 seconds slower on the pit stop because of that lug nut issue.
It looks to me like Keselowski might be inching up a little, gaining a little bit on Kevin Harvick here. Has 2/10 that time by, and Keselowski has done exactly what Kevin didn't want him to do. I think he's going to school on him, and he's trying to run that bottom line like Kevin's doing.
Vince?
Well, Kevin Harvick, if indeed he is losing space to Brad Keselowski, it's going to be a testament to the way Keselowski's hanging on to that car, because he just radioed in and said, I am so loose. It's a 7 loose on a 10 scale for Keselowski. His spotter, Joey Meyer, said, yeah, but we're having fun. Brad didn't respond.
You know what? Nobody's car is perfect. All these cars, everybody's got issues. It's whether you have the least amount of issues.
And look at the amount of handwork going on with Keselowski. I mean, he is really working that steering wheel, and you can see a total difference in driver style, how they hold their head, what their visual is, and how they handle that steering wheel back and forth. There's also some steering boxes that could be different, a little bit of geometry in the front suspension that could be playing a role in that as well.
4th place, Kyle Larson moves ahead of Ryan Newman. Here comes Jimmy Johnson for 8th place against Denny Hamlin. Johnson, if he makes this pass, will have picked up 6 spots after the restart. Now Matt Kenseth has picked up 7 at the back. Kenseth had a 2nd speeding penalty, this one for too fast exiting his pit.
You know,
on the
when
last
we'll
stop.
start talking about Jimmy Johnson, about halfway.
You certainly can't count him out.
103 laps complete in Atlanta. Kevin Harvick out front.
Fans also need refreshment, so buckle up and grab an ice cold Coke. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
109 laps completed. Great crowd here in Atlanta today, seeing Kevin Harvick dominate, leading all but 3 laps so far as we work our way into stage number 2. Matt.
Mike, last week Kevin Harvick wore a Polar Sports watch during the 500, which he does periodically to monitor important body data to improve his training routine. Typically, his heart beats per minute ranges from 160 to 180, but that and calories burned were lowered slightly at Daytona due to a 17-minute red flag and 8 caution. But to put it in perspective, thankfully for Harvick, he could have used any one of his sponsors to replenish the 2,500 calories burned. You could go 5 sandwiches, 7 slices of pizza, 21 bottles of beer, Larry Mack's 4 steaks at Outback, or quite simply 2 bloomin' onions. And I think, Mike, to put it in perspective, that's a normal Friday night at the Sig Ep house while I was in college.
Add up those calories? No, don't. Just don't.
You know what I'm seeing? A battle for 10th right here. The 3-car of Austin Dillon's working hard on my man there, Ricky Stenhouse. They got a good little battle going on here.
Look at this battle here, 22 of Logano and Truex. I like this. Truex running right through the middle of the racetrack. Didn't complete the pass, but it's somewhere that no one else is racing. If he can make that work, if the car can work there, he can actually make some great passes there later.
I think that 78 is getting a little bit better as we go along.
What's up with Joey Logano, Matt?
Mike, 2 issues possibly on the 22. First, Joey reported to the team that he got into the wall. A few laps later, he reported he has a loose wheel developing on that 22. It's been consistent, hasn't gotten worse. He's going to try to ride it out.
Well, the loose wheel issue has been consistent for car 22 in the 2 weeks of this season so far.
Yeah, we talked to them about what happened in Daytona when he had 2 right front wheels come loose, one in the 500 and one, I think, in the duels or the Clash, and they talked about taking some of the tightness of the lug nuts and that torque wrench and loosening or tightening that up or loosening that up, and they went too far, and then all of a sudden the wheel came loose. I wonder if they did the same thing. Surely they've mapped that out. That can't possibly be the 3rd time that happens.
They're smarter than that. I know Todd Gordon is smarter than that.
Logano under fire for Martin Truex for 6th place here. 113 complete. Let's get a little inside Kevin Harvick's car. Larry.
Well, let's take a look at Kevin Harvick inside the 4 car. And you see the digital dash right here. There's a lot of information there, but there's also the readout of the driver adjustable track bar. Let's take our Ford Cutaway car, and the track bar is actually in the rear of the car. This is it right there. It essentially holds the rear end in the center of the car, but you can also adjust it on the right side. This is something that the driver can do from the cockpit. He can raise the track bar or he can lower the track bar because it has this electric motor right there that's being operated by that switch. When you raise the track bar on the right rear, it'll free the car up. If you lower the track bar, it will tend to tighten it up. We saw a lot of drivers that didn't really mess with that in practice because they wanted this as a tuning tool for the race today.
Thanks, Larry. Heard some drivers were even making changes to it during their qualifying runs. 10th place, Austin Dillon, Ricky Stenhouse. Now Stenhouse coming back on the outside. Dillon taking the short way around. And we'll show you a lap ago. Stenhouse opened the door right there.
Hang on to her, brother.
Little dirt track in there. Stenhouse typically runs his car pretty free, so it looks to me like that yellow line, he hooked that yellow line and brought the back end around, and the 3 got a run on him.
Fitz Welch, trouble on our second place car?
Yeah, Brad Keselowski said either I've just run over something or I'm courting the right front. I'm not sure, but I've definitely got an issue. That's from the 2 of Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, he's
coming to pit road.
He's on pit road.
Yeah, they did not want to take any chances. They told him to go ahead and come.
I really felt like Kevin Harvick was baiting him. I think he wanted to let Keselowski think he could run with him, but when it got time to go, he left him.
Well, I also think, DW, he pushed really hard. Brad Keselowski was running some fast laps to try to get to the rear bumper of Kevin Harvick. He also ran that higher line. I think to do that, you're going to use your tires up a little bit more.
Ryan Blaney back in the pits. He's had tire issues today. Now that's a Penske satellite team, the Wood brothers.
Guys, we saw this in the first stage. The window is open that you can make it to the end of stage 2 by pitting right here. So I think over the next 4 or 5 laps, we'll see an epidemic, a breakout of people coming to pit road.
A breakout, I love it.
Now, you don't think that 2 car would be trying to fool somebody by saying he had a problem and came early, do you?
Wouldn't put it past him.
Paul Wolf's pretty shrewd.
How about rookie Eric Jones popping up into the top 10 here, Jamie?
Doing a really nice job all weekend, actually. He was one of the best Joe Gibbs affiliate teams and the Joe Gibbs team's cars. They've made minimal changes to this car. He got this sponsor, SiriusXM, sponsoring him for 2 races. This is the first of those. Now, the only thing that's really happened with the 77 today, because it's been good, car's handling well, but his track bar adjuster that Larry McReynolds talked about, it's broken. He cannot adjust it manually from inside the car, so they're doing that on pit road during the stops.
He restarted 16th. Joey Logano is in. Matt.
Todd Gordon loves his team. He uses Dartfish. He said the thing about my guys, they're very consistent typically, and that's a major plus. Zach Price hitting the lugs on the left rear. Logano said the car was too free. Air pressure change on the 22.
Logano away, loses a lap, as did Keselowski. Now they will cycle through if we stay green when everyone else makes their pit stops. Oh, too fast entering Joey Logano.
Well, this is a hard pit road, and I think Jeff will back me up on this. One of the hardest pit roads to get on because entrance to pit road is so far off of turn 4 that when you turn it down, it's really hard to get car woed up.
Especially when the tires are so worn out. Less downforce on these cars means also less braking ability when you're trying to slow the car down. And I think they just carried a little bit too much speed getting to pit road. Couldn't get it quite woed down.
Eric Almirola's made a stop. So has rookie Gray Galding. Green flag stops. Here's Almirola. Wedge wrench in the left rear.
I tell you, when you put those new tires on, it's amazing how much faster you are than the guys that don't have them. Oh my!
It looks to me like they're going about 10, 12 miles per hour faster through the corner than those with old tires.
Well, it's got to be a treacherous time because suddenly you're looking in the mirror for cars with new tires. You're trying to manage your car with worn tires.
Yeah, you have to be very careful. The closing rate with you're on new tires, you have to anticipate that car in front of you could be checking up really early into the corner, and you got to make sure you don't run over the top of them.
Got to anticipate, man.
And the word from Brad Keselowski's pit, he had worn out the right front tire.
Yeah, I think he's going to probably have to manage that just a little bit better from inside the car now. Sure, they can maybe make some adjustments, but I think what you're gonna see him doing is just taking a little bit easier in those first laps on the track with new tires.
I guess Paul Wolf wasn't woofing.
Ryan Blaney shoots past the leader, 12 miles an hour quicker on new tires. Matt DiBenedetto on pit road.
Mike, we've had 4 pit road speeding penalties. We only race here once a year. Since we were here last year, the number of timing segments it's almost doubled. They're much shorter than what they used to be here.
So that would account for a driver not having a chance if he thought he was too quick to slow down in a segment, because they don't measure the exact speed of the car like a speedometer. It's time over distance in each segment. Good point.
And as you shorten those distances, there's much less room for error.
Yeah, and the pit road speed is kind of slow here, 45 miles an hour. Normally we are about 55, so a little slower than normal, I think.
Only had 1 speeding penalty here last year.
Now this is important right here. Brad Keselowski unlapping himself after making that green flag pit stop.
Martin Truex to pit road. Again, these are all scheduled green flag stops as drivers try to plan their stage 2. Vince.
Martin Truex Jr. has been really pleased with the way his car has handled throughout the day. It's been very uneventful, quite different from all the things that they experienced last week at Daytona. It's been a smooth weekend for the 78. Matt?
Brett Griffin, the spotter for the 14 of Clint Bowyer, warned him, be very cognizant of your pit road speed. They are busting a lot of people. Bowyer said the car just needs grip. He has to weigh down the nose for it to come in. Chassis adjustment for Bowyer.
Ryan Newman and Kyle Larson have been racing each other on the track. Now they're racing each other down pit road. Staying together.
There we go. The 31 is in, already over on the left side. He said the car felt like it was on top of the racetrack. Meanwhile, the 42 of Kyle Larson is in as well. Taking a little bit extra time there on the left side, and he's away. Kevin Harvick is coming in shortly.
Ricky Stenhouse, Trevor Bayne, both the Roush Fenway cars on pit road. Here comes Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin, along with Jamie McMurray and Kurt Busch.
I got to believe Harvick's going to be coming in pretty soon himself. Here he comes. He was losing over a second a lap to those that put new tires on. Vince?
Yeah, they've just never been able to get the grip on the 41 car. Last week's Daytona 500 winner, Kurt Busch, loose all day long.
Harvick crosses the start-finish stripe and heads for his pit box at the end of pit road. Jimmy Johnson, the leader. Harvick's in, Matt.
A lot of chemistry on this Harvick crew. They've been together since the last 14 races of last year. Reversing the chassis adjustment here on the 4 of Harvick. Jamie?
And the 48 of Jimmy Johnson talking about coming in. He's been messing around with different lines on the track, thinking he has more speed up top, but they've been sticking to the bottom, and it's been paying off.
Kyle Busch completes his service. Remember, this year, no more bonus points for leading the race or for leading the most laps. The only bonus points are those awarded at the end of each of the first two stages. Jamie.
And Eric Jones, you talked about what a nice job he's been doing all weekend long. The car has been good. Very minimal changes. A 4-tire stop here. They didn't need any track bar adjusting there. It's still broken inside, though.
And here comes Jimmy Johnson. He will surrender the lead.
Guess who he's going to surrender the lead to?
Brad Keselowski.
It's going to work out for him.
I mean, I know that it was an unscheduled pit stop, but by pitting early, this is exactly what happened to Kevin Harvick the last time we were here. Jamie?
And last pit stop for Jimmy Johnson was almost 16 seconds long. They're going to try to clean that up here, fill it up with fuel, put 4 tires on it. No chassis adjustments now, though. The car has gotten better each run. Nice stop.
Now, Brad Keselowski pitted 11 laps earlier than Kevin Harvick. So by coming out sooner on fresh tires, look at the lead he has built up on the 4. Keselowski, your leader in Atlanta by 10 seconds. 135 laps complete. Chad Knaus's reaction as Jimmy Johnson was too fast exiting pit road. Had to make a penalty stop. He was 6th when he pitted. He is now 18th, 1 lap down.
That was a look of disgust, I might say.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. just made a stop, but up front, Keselowski leading Kevin Harvick, and that 10 seconds has now shrunk to 3.
Yeah, we talked about how he was out there for 10 laps, and Logano's not, this is not for position. He's actually 15th a lap down. But Keselowski came in 10 laps sooner than Kevin Harvick. And what did he have as a lead when Kevin Harvick came off pit road? About 10 seconds.
10 seconds, yeah.
About a second a lap. But Kevin Harvick is running hard. He's really making up some time. Now he's about a second a lap faster than Keselowski on those fresher tires.
But if you're Brad Keselowski, how hard do you push it knowing you wore out a right front tire on the previous run?
I was watching his lap time. He was fast because he had new tires, but he was more conservative than Kevin Harvick. I've seen Kevin Harvick pushing really hard and taking a lot out of these tires in the early stages.
I saw Keselowski went as hard as he could go. His tires are giving up, and so now here comes Harv, and he'll catch him, and he'll be back in 2nd place.
In 4 of the last 5 races here, Kevin Harvick has led the most laps. but he hasn't won. Last lap. 5-mile-per-hour differential.
Well, Keselowski's just up ahead of him now. He can see him, so he's got him in his sights.
Let's check with Matt Yoakum down at our eBay pit box.
Mike, when you walk up and down pit road, the one constant is the big pit boxes that can range from $80,000 to $105,000 with all the high-tech gadgets you need, especially the monitors that the teams can see car damage from RTV cameras. That way they can get a game plan going as far as what they can do. Because of NASCAR's new damaged car policy, they're very limited, and they also have a short list of parts that they are allowed to replace. Now, one area that's really become high-tech, in the old days, DW, remember the old 200-mile-an-hour tape? Well, now the folks at SRI, they've got X-Flex. It's a brand new piece of a duct tape type material, bare bond, that they can put on the car. This has a nice backing to it. It also helps conform to the damage on the race car, always trying to save time here on pit road.
And you can't peel it off. I mean, it's there to stay. When they say it's bare bond, they ain't kidding.
See Casey Kane trying to get back on the lead lap here to the outside of Brad Keselowski, as we see second place Kevin Harvick has reeled in our leader. Oh, nice shot right there. Oh. Brad was not able to get the yellow line like Kevin Harvick.
There are 38 other guys out there that can't get to the yellow line like Kevin Harvick can, man. I'm just telling you.
That car needs a big shark fin on the roof and cue up the theme from Jaws.
I'm coming, buddy. I'm coming. No, I'm here.
Watch the orange car. That's Keselowski. Get right down against the yellow line.
Yep, the car just wiggles just enough, and that breaks his momentum. He got to get out of the throttle. Does it again right there. And
but look how much of the yellow line four of Kevin Harvick's using. I mean, he has left front and left rear all the way, almost on the apron of the corner.
And let's remind you, below the yellow line is not out of bounds. Only at Daytona and Talladega, NASCAR's two fastest tracks, is there an out of bounds area.
I don't know how many times they would have to tell me that he's running below the yellow line, and why don't you try that? I'd have to figure out a way to make that work.
Oh, look at this.
Back in the pits.
Now what?
So they're splitting this up into thirds like we heard Vince.
Yeah, it's an unscheduled stop for sure for Brad Keselowski. He had not given the team any indication other all of a sudden just saying, I'm coming, and he did indeed. By the way, that right front earlier, he had definitely run over something.
And Jeff, you know, that once you get that in your mind, you see people maybe have a tire problem, you know about tire problems, you automatically, every time you don't feel something just right, you think it's a tire problem.
But good to hear that that right front tire previously was cut and not worn out from running it too hard. Kevin Harvick, after 144 laps in Atlanta, leads Chase Elliott by 5 seconds. .21 laps to go in stage 2 of the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500 at Atlanta. Kevin Harvick has led all of the laps almost, except for pit stops and the exchange. Brad Keselowski picked up the lead, and then Kevin Harvick had an issue getting into turn number 1.
See Brad Keselowski getting his lap back. He'd come in, and I think they're short pitting and doing what Larry McReynolds said, where they're now that they had to come in early, they're taking this and making it into 3 chunks.
Well, that 4 car looks like it's just a little bit looser in 1 and 2 than it's been earlier today.
Well, as we went to break, you saw him get inside of Casey Kane, and the back end start to come around on the 4.
You think that 4 is on rails and he's not driving it? Watch this. Whoa. That was a pretty big moment. You see the wheels going back and forth that he saw on the wheel.
And look how dark the track's getting, too. A lot of rubber down there.
Matt, everything okay there?
Also throw in the fact that the ambient temperature has really come down and the wind has picked up. Harvick simply told Rodney Childers, the car, as you guys documented and DW noted early on, the car is just simply jumping sideways down in 1 and 2.
Yes, it was.
Guys, let's go back to Brad Keselowski in this two-car short pitting. I don't know what they're gaining because it appears no one else is going to do it, and he just got back on the lead lap. He's sitting back there in 14th position, a full lap behind the leader, and actually a significant amount behind the 9th and 10th place. Remember, the top 10 at the end of stage 2 pays points, so I don't know what they've gained there.
Yeah, Larry, I just wonder if he just felt how much it was falling off, and he knew he couldn't go another 30, 35 laps on that set of tires without losing a tremendous amount of speed and time on the track.
Vince?
Yeah, and to add to that, they had been really, really loose, and they were looking for an opportunity to come in. Paul Wolf, the crew chief there on the right-hand side, to make an adjustment to get Brad a little more tight because they just felt like it was too loose, wasn't doing them any good being out there in the situation they were in.
If I'm going to do stuff, I want to do it now, man, because we got the long, this next long stage coming up. Let's get the car right.
So Keselowski's job is to stay on the lead lap for another 17 laps to the end of stage 2. How about this race for 9th?
Wow, Jamie McMurray and Trevor Bayne. Seen some good speed out of the Roush Fenway cars this weekend.
Clint Boyer coming into the picture as well.
This right here is what I love about Atlanta Motor Speedway. You got Trevor Bayne almost down on the apron, sliding around. You've got the one of Jamie McMurray running the high line. You saw Clint Boyer come into the picture. I think he was in the middle lane. So many different options as a driver here.
Yeah, Boyer's wanting them to race each other because he's catching up fast.
Well, and I've been waiting for Clint Boyer to come into the picture. I mean, we've got his teammate in Kevin Harvick dominating this race out front, and you would think that their setups and their cars should be pretty close to one another.
Well, he's running 11th, and that's not too bad for this stage of the race, and he's looking pretty racy right now.
A couple of cars back from them is the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse, who was up front early in the day. Jamie?
Yeah, when we started this race, when the sun was shining, it was slicker. The 17 was on rails. Now that handling has gone away. He said after lap 3, no front turn, no rear grip, so he's in trouble as he's running 13.
Come on, Patty. Brian Patty's his crew chief. Tighten that thing up. Let's get it going.
It's also a sign of how much this track changes as rubber gets laid down. Talked about the track temperature coming down. You know, early in the race, he was comfortably in 2nd place. Now, everything's changed for them. They're struggling back in 14th.
14 laps to go to the end of stage 2, so we'll take you side by side with Kevin Harvick leading by 4.5.
Getting food to hungry older Americans cannot stop, and it won't. Hey, these are our parents and our grandparents out there. Let's start talking about how we can really get to the root of the problem.
Hey, we hear you. Fighting hunger doesn't stop here. I'm working with AARP Foundation's Drive to End Hunger team to change the national conversation around hunger, bring experts together, and make programs better than ever. If you don't think we're in this together, when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Learn more at aarp.org/possibilities.
Smithfield marinated fresh pork. Perfect any night for bringing the family together. Grilled, roasted, sautéed, or slow cooked. The prep work is done, so your meal is ready in about 30 minutes. So you'll never miss a beat. Enjoy real flavor, real fast with Smithfield marinated fresh pork. Flavor hails from Smithfield.
I was made in the shadows of greatness, shaped by the hands of legacy, forged in the fires of racing. I've been challenged, tested, and proven. Whether it's on that track or off, the truth is, what you're made of is what you're made to do.
The 2017 RAV4 with Toyota Safety Sense Standard. Toyota, let's go places.
Got kids 12 and under?
Come to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, and any kid under 12 gets in free. Get your tickets today.
Let's go to Sin City. Fierce and fast, a little out of control. In this town, the odds are never in your favor. But sometimes you just gotta roll the dice.
Look at that. Checkered flag. Unbelievable.
The NASCAR Cup Series. Next Sunday at 3 Eastern. Part of NASCAR Goes West on Fox.
Live in Atlanta, time for a KFC Georgia Gold race break. Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, Kevin Harvick. The pole sitter has dominated. We're 9 laps away from the second stage. He's already won the first stage today, won a stage last Sunday at the Daytona 500, and has led 145 laps now. But Chase Elliott running second, looking for his first career win. Last year, he had the most top 10s of any Hendrick driver, and that includes the ultimate champ, Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, and he did the race with us yesterday on FS1 for the Xfinity cars, and he talked to me about how important it would be to be versatile today. Take that car right down on the yellow line, but then if you need to, run the middle of the track and run high. He's doing a great job. And
Ryan Newman, who started up front alongside Harvick, he's trying to win his first race since 2013.
Newman's third, and Austin Dillon's back in 6th place, Chris. This could be a big day for Richard Childress Racing. They haven't won since 2013, and we're seeing a preview of what 2017 is going to look like, and those cars are strong.
And the 11 car has pitted. Denny Hamlin having trouble getting back up to speed.
Yeah, he must have had an issue. They wouldn't have pitted this close to the end of the stage if it weren't for a problem, and you can see struggling on the bottom of the track.
And let's check in real quick with Vince Welch.
Yeah, he pitted because he was experiencing a vibration. Then he radioed in after pitting that now he believes that something has broken, Chris.
Yeah, I didn't hear exactly what's wrong with the car, but obviously there's an ignition problem or something going on there.
Yeah, and Kyle Larson, worth mentioning, running 5th. Pass for the final lead change the last 2 Cup Series races that he led going into the final lap and at the Daytona 500.
And also keep your eye on Eric Jones. The rookie is strong. He's been able to march up into the top 10. His lap times are good. I like Jones to close out strong.
Harvick, who's never been out of the top 5 today, can he win the second stage and set the stage for the first Cup driver to drive for the cycle? We saw it in the truck race yesterday here in Atlanta. That is your KFC Georgia Gold race break. Let's head back upstairs to Darrell, Jeff, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. You're watching a strong battle here for 3rd place. Ryan Newman, Martin Truex. They are 13.5 behind the leader. Kyle Larson's a part of this too. 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Yeah, this is a great battle. One's on the bottom, one's in the middle, one's up top.
Well, yesterday here, you know, that Ford truck, he cleaned house. He won both stages and the race, won the pole. That's number 4, and the number 4 keeps coming around here leading this race, doing the same thing today.
Well, boy, I think Kevin Harvick's thinking he hopes it's not as eventful as it was for the 4 of Christopher Bell yesterday in that truck race, because it did not come easy in that final stage.
No, that was a Kyle Busch truck. Its owner currently mired in 20th. 2 laps down. We're just 4 laps now from the end of stage 2.
Wow, look at this battle right here. Now, normally we see Kyle Larson up on the top, up against the wall. We had heard earlier he wants to work the bottom and make sure that he runs those same lines that we see Kevin Harvick do so successfully. Of course, I say that, and he goes right up to the top next to the wall in the next corner.
But that 78 car of Martin Truex Jr. has been getting better and better and better all day. And then you look back there at his teammate, Eric Jones, running 7th. Those cars are running good today.
I'm impressed with both those cars, but especially with Eric Jones. His car was sideways in every practice. They have really made some great gains. That's a sign of a great team and driver.
And normally you wouldn't see racing this hard at this point in the race, but Harvick wants to lap these cars if he can before the end of stage 2, as pit road is now closed. We're 2 laps away.
It's just hard to put up a fight against Harvick right now. It's just, I know that Ricky Stenhouse wanted to stay on the lead lap, and I know Kurt Busch up ahead of Harvick would like to too, but he's just so strong.
Well, Stenhouse has got to hope that Harvick cuts his teammate Kurt Busch a break, as he did Danica Patrick at the end of stage 1, because then that would give the free pass to Stenhouse when the caution waves a lap from now. Vince, what happened to Denny Hamlin?
Well, we told you that he came in because he was experiencing a vibration and he had a cut tire. Then shortly after he went out, he said, I feel like something's broken. the track bar mount he believes is broken on that 11 car for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Vince, I could see the left rear moving around inside underneath the body as we went into that close-up shot.
Kevin Harvick just cut his teammate a big slack, a lot of slack right there. He let Kurt Busch in a 41 go and keep him going a lap down.
So here comes Harvick. He comes to the green and white checkers to end stage number 2.
So far, Harvick is 2 for 2.
Yep, trying to hit for the cycle. Chase Elliott is second. For third, Ryan Newman, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson for fourth, Austin Dillon, Brad Keselowski, then Eric Jones, and for 9th and 10th, it'll be Clint Boyer and Trevor Bayne. When they cross the stripe, the caution waves, and we're done with stage 2 of the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 in Atlanta on Fox. Kevin Harvick has now led more laps at Atlanta in his career than any other active driver. On the flip side of that coin, Denny Hamlin's just taken his car to the garage. He'll join Cody Ware as the only 2 cars out of this race. Stage 2 completed. Hamlin done for the day. Pit road should be open this time. Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, Ryan Newman, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson to lead them down. Vince?
Well, some challenges for Martin Truex Jr. coming in from the 4th spot. He said, I've got no clutch as far as the car's handle is concerned. Too tight early in the run and then too loose at the end. They're going to work on it, try to get him a little better center turn. Jamie?
Chase Elliott in the 24 just needs some straightforward drive. He needs to get into the track a little bit better and take it easier on his tires. Matt?
Newman's last 3 top 5s came in a mile and a half. He says the track bar adjustment did not help. He called for an air pressure change. Meanwhile, Harvick says the trend that he is seeing, the track continues to get more free. Double the adjustment that he got last time on pit road.
Big gainer on the race off pit road is going to be Brad Keselowski. He picks up 3 spots.
I think what Harvick said about the track, though, is true. We've seen him get a little loose down there at 1 and 2, and we hadn't seen that earlier in the day.
Now, Martin Truex lost 4 spots because he had trouble getting out of his pit box.
What do you say we talk to the stage winner here? Kevin Harvick, this is Jeff up in the Fox Sports booth. How you doing?
Well, so far so good, man. It's you know, this Jimmy John's Ford has just been a lot of fun to drive. We started to get really loose there down to the bottom and to the center, so that's got me a little concerned. So we tried to work on that a little bit, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, I know this place is never easy, and you're certainly making it easy. I thought it was interesting you chose to go to that high lane on that last restart. Were you just experimenting a little bit? What was going on there?
Yeah, I need to just take a hammer and hit myself in the head and not do that again. I did that yesterday and lost the lead. Today I was just trying to make sure I wasn't missing something up there, but I feel like I give up a little bit, you know, up there just the first 2 laps, but, you know, it's just not something that I need to be doing, I don't think.
Well, I don't know. You might need to give those guys a shot at it, maybe experiment a little bit more, but hey, go get them. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
Kevin Harvick has won stage 1 and stage 2 today. A lot of happy kids in the stands today in Atlanta. 175 complete, still under caution. Now let me correct, because Denny Hamlin went to the garage with a mechanical issue, a broken track bar mount, we believe. He is eligible to repair that and return. Had he gone to the garage area with crash damage, he would not be able to return to the race. So they are trying to get Hamlin back out there. While we're under caution, let's take a look at how these teams are helping their drivers with the Liberty Mutual Insurance Worry Less strategy. Larry.
Well, Mike, first and foremost, fresh tires every chance you get. We're done with stages. We have about a 3 or 4 stop race from here. You never want to pass up an opportunity for fresh tires. Keeping up with the track with adjustments. This is something the crew chiefs will have to do from driver feedback. This track is actually going to start cooling down. Adjustments going to be critical. And the eyes in the sky, the spotter. These drivers lean on those spotters, yeah, to keep them out of trouble, but also where maybe other drivers are running, mainly that 4 car of Kevin Harvick.
Thanks, Larry. There are the spotters. Hard at work as we're 149 laps to go in Atlanta and coming green this time. Now Brad Keselowski lines up fourth. How'd that happen? He was laps down. Well, at the end of the stage, he had cycled through and crossed the line in 7th place to end the stage.
Yep.
Here's Kevin Harvick's team talking tires.
Tires still look fine. I would say as the pace is picking up and the track gets faster, I would say that set looks worse than the set, before, but everything's fine. No cords or anything. Simple.
That's assuring to run as good as he is, and we're on the bottom way he is, and everything looks fine.
Ricky Stenhouse got the free pass. 13 cars on the lead lap as they approach the Geico restart zone. We're in stage 3. How about Ryan Newman right with Kevin Harvick, but for how long?
Look at Jamie McMurray to the top with 3-4 wide up there. Makes it stick.
2nd place. Chase Elliott got a big run on the outside off turn 2.
Oh, man,
dove it down to the bottom in 3 and makes it.
Man, I tell you, he had that right front right up against the left rear of the 31 car. I can tell you that. Moved him up a little bit and got by him.
You ride with Brad Keselowski in 5th. Vince.
Well, and not only has the strategy worked out in favor of the two, but now the handling is coming around for Keselowski. He'd been battling a wicked loose car throughout much of this race. Now he says it's tighter through the center, really starting to come to him.
Well, Mike, we're getting at a point where the track is going to go through a big transition here. It's really cool out there. You heard, I think, Matt talk about earlier, the ambient temperatures coming down. The track's going to pick up speed.
And Jamie McMurray in the 1-off-4 almost transitioned his front bumper into the rear of his teammates.
Well, he's making some big moves, carrying a lot of momentum off that top to really make some passes happen right here. I like what he's doing. He's keeping his car in clean air.
McMurray restarted 12th. Now he's racing for 4th. Kevin Harvick continues to lead. Let's join Jamie Little in the garage.
And Denny Hamlin has climbed out of the number 11. Quite a bit of damage on the left rear that you sustained at the start of the race. Do you think that led to what happened here?
I don't think so. It looked like a hub burned up. That's something totally different. It's a shame for our FedEx team. We had a decent car, top 10 car. Looks like we were hanging out around 7th or 8th all day. And we kept gaining on it, which is a good thing, but just had a mechanical failure here. And, if there's no wreck in the next 10 minutes or so, 20 laps, we'll probably pack it up.
Thanks, Denny. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie. Remember, because Hamlin is in the garage due to a mechanical problem, they are eligible to make repairs and return.
I love it. Kyle Larson says if my teammate Jamie McMurray can go to the top and make those passes, I love running the top. I'm going up there too.
Well, Larson's got to get up there sooner or later. That's his wheelhouse, man, right around the top.
Ryan Newman trying to hold off Brad Keselowski, Chevy versus Ford for 3rd place.
Now see, that was a really smart defensive move by Ryan Newman. He moved up to the top to sort of block Brad Keselowski, and you see that aerodynamics played a role right there, and he lost a little bit of downforce and fell back.
Nothing's really changed much. I mean, the guys run high in 1 and 2. We've heard all weekend long that was the way to go, 1 and 2, and then drop it to the bottom in 3 and 4. And that seems to be working well for everybody except Harvick, and he runs low everywhere.
10th place battle here. Kurt Busch, Martin Truex. Truex to the bottom. Kurt's way up high. And we see a little something off Danica Patrick's car.
Larry, is it possible that's one of those
it's floss.
Wound cords? That we...
Dental floss.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I would tend to believe it might be some type of a hose to cool maybe the bead of a tire or something like that. That's what it looks like. I wouldn't think it would be the cord of a tire.
I don't. She doesn't think it is either. Because if it was, I think she'd know it by now.
Joey Logano up high, 1 lap down. You're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. battling him 3 laps down. Matt Kenseth also in the picture. Now Logano back to the low side. Matt?
Mike, one trend that we see here at Atlanta with these Goodyear tires, if a driver runs over debris, it tends to start to somewhat unwind the rubber around the carcass of the tire, almost like a spool of thread just coming apart. Now, Joey Logano had an issue similar to that 2 runs ago. He hit some debris, but the debris went through the hood, and the team finally had enough time on a caution. You can see they've got some repair tape on that hood trying to fill in that hole and seal off that part of the car.
Thanks, Matt. All right, car number 10, Vince. Dental floss or mental floss?
Well, yeah, I can confirm it is not dental floss on the Aspen Dental car. But it's also, Billy Scott, the crew chief, said it's either tape or part of a hose, as you guys speculated. He said, but it's not something we're concerned about currently.
Looks like part of a brake hose.
It's not getting worse, so business as usual. Go on.
She's running 18th, 1 lap down.
They need to get that big toothbrush and reach in there and pull it off.
I think this is the big surprise of the day right here is Kyle Busch in 19th position. You know, they just didn't have the handling early on, went a lap or 2 down, and it's just been a struggle for him.
Yeah, the best of the Gibbs team is Matt Kenseth in 16th, and that is despite a speeding penalty for Kenseth.
Teammates battling out right here. Kyle Larson, Jamie McMurray. Kyle Larson looks like he's picked up a little bit of speed here, guys.
What's he doing on the bottom? That's
that's
not his wheelhouse.
Listen, he's running everywhere. Bottom, middle, top. He's making it work wherever he goes.
137 laps to go. Kevin Harvick leads Chase Elliott by less than a second. With 132 laps to go, Kevin Harvick's Ford right there leads Chase Elliott there by only 0.7 of a second. So let's have a look at today's Credit One Bank ones to watch. Jeff?
Well, I know Chase Elliott's going to make this thing interesting, but Kevin Harvick, he is dominated. He's been flawless. I think today is the day that he brings it home and gets that second victory here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Jeff, we ran this low aero downforce package both the Michigan races last year. The driver that finished second in both those races, Chase Elliott. If that 4-car bobbles, Chase Elliott to get that first win today.
I don't know, Larry. I just like that 42 car. Kyle Larson, this is his kind of racetrack, man. High, wide, and handsome. I want to keep an eye on that 42 car.
You better watch Kez. They had a problem with the tire earlier. They used some strategy to get back on the lead lap. They're running 3rd right now. Brad Keselowski won on the mile and a half twice last year. I think he gets it done today.
Nobody races harder than Ryan Newman. It's been 3 years since Richard Childress Racing went to victory lane, and almost 4 for Newman. If he's close at the end, watch out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. having a tough day. He is back on pit road. Looks like 4 tires this time and a tank of Sunoco race fuel. He came in 2 laps down. This will put him, looks like 4 laps down coming back out.
Yeah, but he'll have those fresh Goodyears. Pretty good chance with the speed of the car and those new tires that he'll get one of those back.
He says if I'm going to be laps down, at least I won't have the new tires on it. It'll drive better anyway.
Clint Boyer in the top 10, new with Stuart Haas, replacing the retired Tony Stewart, co-owner of this team with Gene Haas. The switch to Ford certainly has not slowed their momentum one bit.
We talk about dirt track experience paying off at a place like Atlanta Motor Speedway. This guy has a lot of dirt track experience from Kansas and the Midwest, and you know, he's just quietly working his way up almost into that top 5.
He is. He's just been kind of reeling them in quietly and slowly, and now here he sits, you know, running in 6. Not a bad day for the 14 car.
Austin Dillon, Jamie McMurray racing for 7th. This is all taking place about 7 seconds behind the race leader.
And another, I mean, the 3 car of Austin Dillon, he has been right in the top 10 just about the whole race and having a really good day.
I just wonder with McMurray, he really came out hard and aggressive on that last restart, up high. Just wonder if he didn't use up a little bit of these tires too early, because he has faded just a little bit here in the last 10 laps.
I think if you got them, you use them. Use them as long as you can, because you know they're going to go away.
Jamie?
Well, before the last pit stop, Austin Dillon said he can make his car do about anything. He's been really happy with it. He wanted just a little bit of help on entry at 3, so they made a wedge adjustment. But since then, he said he's sliding the rear, so the balance not as good as it was earlier. Vince?
Well, the previous run from Jamie McMurray before that last pit stop, they were having a variety of battery and voltage issues, an alternator problem possibly. When McMurray came on that last pit stop, they changed the voltage regulator, so at least that has been corrected. Still trying to get a little car that will work for him here in these final stages.
And here at third place, Keselowski and Larson continue to go at it. You know, through the first 6 spots, Ford, Chevy, Ford, Chevy, Ford, Chevy. See a pattern here?
I see a pattern here.
Kyle Larson goes inside Keselowski.
Can he make that pass happen?
He's got he's got that Kevin Harvick line in 1 and 2 down below the yellow line. Made that pass on the 22. Looked pretty easy.
Larson, fastest car on the track that last lap.
124 laps to go. Kevin Harvick holding a lead of 0.8 of a second on Chase Elliott. 118 laps to go. There's downtown Atlanta in the distance from the Goodyear blimp. They provide our aerial coverage today, and everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. 207 of 325 laps. Kevin Harvick has led 190 of them. He is the first of 13 cars on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski, Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson each led a few. Harvick won stages 1 and 2, and we listened into his radio.
Need a little of this back, but not all of it, obviously. Really struggling in 3 and 4. I get into the bottom and I try to feed it gas, and it just starts to shove the nose. Now, along with that tightness, I can hardly touch the throttle on exit, spinning up tires.
Now Jimmy Johnson, Joey Logano, Kyle Busch have recently made pit stops. Ty Dillon's in. Johnson is back in to serve a penalty for being too fast entering. Jamie?
That's the second time today he's gotten a pit road penalty. Jack Knaus was concerned about the pace of the 48, and then Jimmy said, I'm just too tight. I can't do anything with it. So he brought it down pit road. All they did was change tires. I'm looking at the tires, and they look absolutely fine. So just not where they want to be balance-wise.
Thanks, Jamie. First of the leaders to pit in this sequence will be Ryan Newman. Matt's there.
And Mike, the 31 hits the box. This past run, the car has really started taking even more of a turn for the worse. Looking for a left side chassis adjustment to try to tighten up that 31 as well as an air pressure. Starting to go the wrong way, Jamie.
And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as well going the wrong way. Started out so well with sun. Since it's been overcast, they've thrown everything at this car. Just no grip, Vince.
Well, here comes the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. And remember, he's got that clutch issue. They had to push him off the last time, and he also lost spots on that restart. So we'll see if that continues to be a problem for him as he leaves. Also, the one of Jamie McMurray. We addressed his issue with the voltage situation earlier. Kurt Busch still not happy. He said none of the changes they're making are having any impact on the car.
A.J. Allmendinger too fast entering pit road. Clint Boyer is in with Kyle Larson as Danica Patrick exits. And Martin Truex too fast entering. That is the 8th speeding penalty handed out today.
There's got to be a new, I bet there's a new timing line down there that wasn't there in the past.
Matt.
Already going to work on the left side now. Kyle Larson said the drive off is much better this run on the 42. Meanwhile, now in the Ford, Clint Boyer, service complete for his head. A little hesitation there trying to get around the car in front. Air pressure adjustment on the 14. Boyer with solid run in the top 10.
Here are your
Vince.
2 leaders in.
And And Chase Elliott in for service as well. 4-tire stop here. The car has been pretty balanced overall. No changes here, Matt.
Trying to keep up with the racetrack. Another adjustment for Kevin Harvick's Ford. Luck's going on. Great stop once again by the 4 guys.
Kyle Larson up to the front, and Chase Elliott too fast entering. That's the 9th speeding penalty today.
That tells me that the same guy set up Jimmy Johnson's lights and set up Chase's lights.
Well, I think there's just no room for error with the way the timing lines are coming off pit road. You just need to be extra conservative there. These teams push the limit on everything, not just on pit road, on the pit stops, on the track, and it's biting a lot of them.
I think there are 2 new timing lines on that end of the racetrack, if I remember right.
Remember, they have to push start Martin Truex.
Look at that boy.
Guys down. Now, the 78 had the same issue last year. I think it's Charlotte. They won the race that day, but you know, it's the same kind of things that have happened to them in the past.
These 500-mile races, man, I'm telling you, 500-mile race, not a lot of cautions. It's pretty grueling. It takes its toll on the guy and the driver and the equipment.
Kevin Harvick cycles back to the lead after all of the lead lap cars have been on pit road. Paul Menard coming in as Corey LaJoie pulls out.
Whoa.
That was close.
You can see the right rear of Paul Menard sticking out because he had to come around Corey LaJoie. It just makes it really difficult to get off of pit roads. We see Chase Elliott, that penalty on pit road, being too fast entering, paying that penalty off.
The penalty is you have to drive down pit road at 45 miles an hour pit road speed while everyone else continues under green.
Longest and slowest 45 miles per hour you've ever experienced.
And when you do that penalty, it's like writing your name on the chalkboard about 100 times because it seems like it takes forever.
Bart Simpson, I will not speed on pit road, right? Repeatedly.
I want you to think about, you know, these drivers, they are so intense out there. They're going 190 miles per hour. Then they've got to come down to 45 miles per hour on pit road.
Here's Chase Elliott's radio after the call.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I need to look at that just for future reference. I barely blinked a red, so sorry. All good. Well, we go here in section 3. We'll be fine. Just got to go hit our marks before we get going here.
Yeah, he talks about, you know, just flashed a red. There are lights on that digital dash that these teams tune the RPM of the engine to those lights to tell them they don't have a speedometer inside these cars, so that's how they fine-tune it, and they just, you know, right there on the edge, and it's not the most accurate way to do it, but it's all the tool, the only tool that they have.
But I love the crew. I love Alan Gustafson. He never got excited. He never raised Cain with him. He just said, okay, don't worry, we'll overcome it. I like that.
Things change in a big round of green flag pit stops. We have 108 laps to go. 103 laps to go in Atlanta. You see up top Kevin Harvick posted as your stage 1 and 2 winner. He started from the pole. Here's Ryan Newman moving past Austin Dillon, his RCR teammate. Or is he? They battle for 5th.
Newman just couldn't quite get to the yellow line, but the 3 of Austin Dillon certainly did.
Listen, teammates race each other just as hard as they race the other guys. They don't think about it being your teammate. Maybe Kevin Harvick did earlier in that stage when he let the 41 stay on the lead lap. But when you're racing each other, you race hard.
He actually did that at the end of stage 1 and 2. Danica stage 1, and then Kurt Busch at the end of stage 2.
Now, if you're looking at our top 10, this is when they last were on pit road. You can see Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ryan Newman coming at 209, Kevin Harvick, Eric Jones coming at 212. What it appears to me, now again, cautions throws all this out the window, is they're breaking it up into somewhere around 35 to 38 lap runs. So we should see the next stop somewhere around 248 to 250, and then maybe a final stop somewhere around 285 to 290. That breaks it up in even runs to get to lap 325.
So that would put the next stop at about 25 laps from now.
Correct.
So Larry, that seems like that's when you get you get all the goodie out of your tires. You're starting to really give up a lot of time, and then you hit pit road.
And it seems like that's been when a lot of people have been flirting with quartering some inside, some right side tires.
Well, and Larry, you know, they've done a pretty good job of managing the number of tires that they were allotted at the beginning of this race. So they've got the tires to be able to do it in this final stage.
Yes, sir. I think they're in good shape there.
Kevin Harvick now leading Kyle Larson in second place by 2.6 seconds, Michael.
You know, yesterday in the Xfinity race, I heard Kyle Larson's spotter telling him, paint that yellow line, get to the bottom, learn that groove. Use today to learn about that line that Kevin Harvick runs so well for tomorrow. Harvick said it helped him to refresh himself running the Xfinity race. And another guy that was watching real closely, guys, Chase Elliott up in the FS1 booth with me. He saw what those guys are doing. I don't think it's any coincidence all of them are running really well today.
I think that, you know, this just shows the talent and diversity that Kyle Larson has. He can go, uh-oh, does the 24 have an issue here? It looked like he was wheeling down the back straightaway. But, you know, the talent of Kyle Larson, normally we see him up on the top groove. And we've seen in the dirt tracks when he goes and races sprint cars up against a cushion where it's really fast. But he also has the discipline and the finesse to be able to do what he's doing right here, run right around that bottom.
Well, they have Hendrick power under the hood, and I don't know this for a fact. I haven't talked to Rick about it, but I got to think the resources that was going over to Stewart-Haas, maybe they ended up giving some extra stuff to the Ganassi guys, because those cars have been running. They ran great at Daytona, and both of them are in the top 10 today, McMurray as well.
Well, actually, think about this. Larson should have probably won. He almost won the final race of the season at Homestead. So obviously Ganassi Racing has improved. These are also Hendrick chassis, but I think that they're just putting more and more development and engineering into their program, and I think it's showing in the performance of the cars.
Well, I know that kid can drive. There's no question.
Yeah, I don't know if he's pitting or thanking them for letting him go.
Yeah, had a hand out the left side window.
Whoa, a little loose
Hello.
as he got to the yellow line. We've seen a lot of that today. Yeah, I think A.J. Allmendinger was behind him as they went through 3 and 4. I don't know if he allowed the 42 of Larson to go to the bottom and get by him a little easier than he could had to, and that's what a driver does. You know, give a little wave out the window.
I tell you, those old arms are getting a little weary about now. You've been staring on this thing for a pretty good while now.
Sorry, that was the 37 of Buescher.
Second race of the season, and this is the first time in 2017 we have run this low downforce package that NASCAR experimented with last year. The last time they ran this package was Michigan, and the winner of that race was Kyle Larson. Harvick the leader, Larson in second. It's been a tough day for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Matt, he finds himself 5 laps back.
Mike, when Dale Jr. made that unscheduled pit stop, he thought he had a tire unwinding or possibly a loose wheel. Wheel looked fine. The tire looked fine as well. They're not sure exactly what he was feeling. So tough day on the racetrack, tough weekend for this team. On Friday, shortly before qualifying, crew chief Greg Ives' mother, Barbara, passed away after battling an illness for a very long time. The team put decals in the C-post, and you also see right next to the nationwide decal, that's Barbara's favorite Bible verse. So Barbara riding along with the 88 guys today here in Atlanta. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Ives family in Charlotte and up on the UP in Michigan.
Thank you for that, Matt. Yeah, I got a chance to drive this 88 car and spend a lot of times with Greg Ives. What a great guy and a great crew chief. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers to their family.
All of the Hendrick cars carrying a decal either on the C-post in memory. Battle for 7th place with 93 laps to go. Jamie McMurray, rookie Eric Jones, and Daytona 500 winner Kurt Busch.
Well, I just don't know if we've said enough about Eric Jones today, guys. I mean, he's doing an admirable job. He's a rookie, and that 77 car has been pretty competitive all day long.
He's been extremely impressive, and I just can't reiterate it enough. I watched him in practice all weekend long, and the back end was hung out sideways every time he was coming off the corner, and I thought, boy, he's really struggling. They're really fighting with it, but he's a quality driver, a past champion in the Xfinity Series. Tell you what, that to me is impressive, how he's been able to fine-tune with this team to make this car handle the way it is right now.
And he's the Toyota top performer of this race with 90 laps to go. Jones in 8th, Truex in 13th, Kenseth 1 lap down, as is Truex. Kyle Busch 2 laps back, and Danny Suarez 3 laps down. Suarez has a look in the mirror. Kevin Harvick, your leader, with 91 to go.
Time for an eBay Motors race break live in Atlanta with Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers. Caution flies here with 86 laps to go. Debris on the track. It's the third caution. Remember, we had 2 for the stages last year in this race. The entire race, we only had 3 cautions the entire 500+ miles. Kevin Harvick remains your leader, trying for his first career win at Atlanta since he won his first Cup race here, and that was in his 3rd career start. Meanwhile, Kyle Larson hoping to close in on the 4 car.
Yeah, and he is doing just that, Chris. His lap times have been better than Harvick over the last few laps. He's getting stronger and stronger as the day goes along. Remember, this track is probably changing. It's cooling off. We could see a change in the complexion of this race late.
Clint Boyer, Stewart Haas Ford, his first ride. He's in the seat that Tony Stewart held. His last top 5 finish, it was Bristol back in 2015.
And what a day he's had, and this track is right up Boyer's alley. He likes to slip and slide. He's a dirt racer too, and he's having a great run in that 14 car.
The booth talked about rookie Eric Jones, who's 7th, but Matt Kenseth, who's 0 for 28 in his career. He's accomplished a lot, but he's never won in Atlanta in a Cup race, and that kind of signifies the problems for Toyota to start the year.
Well, the Gibbs cars particularly. Matt Kenseth isn't even on the lead lap. They don't have a single car on the lead lap. Truex is also off the pace. Rookie Eric Jones is flying the flag for Toyota today.
And Kurt Busch coming off the Daytona 500 victory, now 10th. One of the storylines coming in.
And he said all day long, I feel like I'm on roller skates. I can't get any grip, but steadily, he's a great driver and he's a great communicator with his crew. Steadily, he's made that car better and better. He's into the top 10.
Too early to count out Jimmy Johnson, who was going for what would be a record 3rd straight Atlanta victory.
I think it might be not too early to count.
Never too early.
I think he's in trouble today. He's had a couple of penalties. The car just isn't performing like we're used to seeing him run here. I think that team's in trouble today.
All right, that is your eBay Motors race break. Let's head back upstairs to Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. The debris on the racetrack was at the bottom of turn 4 near the entrance of pit road. That's why pit road remains closed this time for cleanup there. Should be open next time around. 84 laps to go. Larry, what does this caution flag do for our strategy?
Well, I still think, you know, obviously everyone's going to come here and change 4 tires, Mike, and we're probably going to go back racing somewhere around 78 to 80 to go. So I think they'll be thinking one more stop from there possibly.
Okay. Now, after this week, we're headed west. The West Coast swing of NASCAR begins.
Ready, set, go west. Next week, NASCAR goes west to kick off its 3-week tour of the best coast. First up, Las Vegas, then on to Phoenix. And finally, we wrap things up in the Golden State at the Auto Club Speedway. Buckle your seatbelt, because it's sure to be a wild ride. Coverage of Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Las Vegas begins Sunday with race day at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and continues on Fox at 3 p.m.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, the duel in the desert and California dreaming. 3 big weeks out west. Pit road is open, Vince.
Well, they warned Brad Keselowski they have been killing people on the speeding penalties today. Do not speed. 9 pit road speeding penalties. They warned him multiple times about speeding. Still too loose on both ends, especially needs help off turn 2 if he's to get his first win here in Atlanta. Jamie?
And this is the 3rd of 3 races for Austin Dillon this weekend and his pit crew. They finished top 10 twice yesterday. So far running in the top 10 here today. No changes, Matt.
Slight change on the 42 of Larson. His car a little tight on the gas. Finished the last season 3rd and 2nd, looking for a win. Service complete there. Small changes on the 14 of Boyer, trying to keep up with the racetrack. And Harvick, wow, those guys again, stellar stop. Slight change on the 4 because his car was free this past run.
Slight advantage to having that first pit, too. Yeah. That doesn't hurt a thing.
Well, it doesn't hurt when you've got a bunch of lap cars in between you, too. He came on to pit road with a pretty good advantage.
Yep. That's Brad Keselowski, who picks up 1 spot.
Fans also need refreshments, so buckle up and grab an ice-cold Coke. You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
81 laps to go in Atlanta. Completing this caution flag for debris in turn number 4. Let's take a look at how Kevin Harvick spotter Tim Fedewa helped him worry less with the Liberty Mutual Insurance spotter coverage.
Think you need to go back just a little bit. I think we're going to have to. Careful. Might just be the track freeing up, you know. It's black down there on the bottom. Both ends really. Yeah, I think it's good slimy. 2-2 rubbered up, slimy. Yeah, I think so too.
From his spot up on the spotter's perch, Speedway analyzing track conditions for Rodney Childers and Kevin Harvick.
Mike, if I'm 42, if I'm Kyle Larson, I'm going to get right down on the door of that 4 car because that outside lane has struggles getting going. But if you could get down there next to him, maybe you could take off with him and hang with him. I think if Larson could hang with him, he could give him a battle.
Oh, absolutely. We've seen Larson be one of the best restarters in recent years.
Pace car's in. They'll restart with 80 to go.
Pretty even.
Probably the best we've seen anybody do out there on that outside lane. As you see, Boyer blocked the 31 of Ryan Newman behind him.
And look at Larson wind up in that outside lane and pull past Keselowski for second.
He's going to clear him going into 3. Now, does he have anything for Kevin Harvick?
I tell you, once Harvick gets a little gap on you like that, it's just so hard to close it back up. He's so strong off the corner.
Jamie McMurray way up on the. You sure Kyle Larson isn't driving the 1 and McMurray in the 42? Because on every restart, McMurray has been way up topside up by the wall.
Maybe they changed cars.
I don't know. Something to think about.
I think Kyle Larson, like all of us up here and everybody out there, we want to try to do what Kevin Harvick's doing. We just haven't been able to do it.
McMurray battling the 31 of Ryan Newman, the outside pole sitter. And that's for 8th place. Just ahead, Boyer trying to edge past the 24 of Chase Elliott. And that is for 6th place. No luck there.
Yeah, Boyer dropped back in behind Chase Elliott, trying to get back down to the bottom. If I had to guess, if that 14 has a similar setup to Kevin Harvick, he's probably one that needs to stay on the bottom and really work that yellow line just like his teammate. Although I say that, he goes right up to the top in 1 and 2.
Denny Hamlin's back in the race after making repairs to the rear end of that car.
I think
back
Boyer,
at 38th place.
Don't overdrive it, man. Focus on this exit.
I think Boyer had to go high to get around the 31. He had a little better run off that high side and got around the 31 of Ryan Newman. It fascinates me. Look at the lead that Kevin Harvick already has in 3 laps.
Here comes a big run from the
gone.
2. Keselowski going to make a pass on 2nd place Kyle Larson.
He did too, man.
Came off that top and had a bunch of momentum.
That thing was handling where I like for him to handle, down the straightaway.
75 to go. Sounds like a good time for a Fox NASCAR. Crank it up.
Clear behind him if he gets you. All clear by 4. Outside. Inside. Clear high. 1 inside. All clear.
The lights have come on in Atlanta with 71 laps to go, and Kevin Harvick holding a 1.1 second lead on Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon, Kyle Larson, and Kurt Busch. We listened in on Brad Keselowski's team, trailing by a second.
Right now, even if we run the bottom, we're 10 car lengths past, we're 5 car lengths easily where we get to the yellow line, referencing the 4.
You know what I love? Everybody references the 4.
That's right.
Why can't we do what he does?
Even if you do it exactly like him, you still got to pass him.
That's right. What a frustrating, how frustrating it'd be to watch him drive off and he's doing that bottom thing and you can't do it.
What a great race Eric Jones is having here for 10th place with Jamie McMurray and Matt Kenseth coming into the picture.
Jamie?
And Eric Jones, what a great race he's running. Rookie crew chief, rookie driver. They just wanted to come in and finish all the laps and finish in the top 20. Well, he's been running top 10. And Eric, I talked to him pre-race, and he was pretty confident. He was nice and smooth about things all weekend long. He said he's learned a lot. It's a lot to take on racing at this place as a rookie, but he's doing a fine job.
Yes, he is.
Chris Gale is crew chief, and they have a good race car today.
This is one of the toughest places in one of these Cup cars, especially with as little downforce these cars have. I mean, he's getting quite the education today, and this place is a handful, especially for 500 miles.
How about Clint Boyer, currently 7th, Matt?
Mike, he told me that he just couldn't get a good feel about his Ford during practice because he would get on a run and then a caution would come out. That's why this morning he spent a lot of time with Kevin Harvick talking about lines, looking at some video, but he just couldn't quite get a feel for that as well. This is his worst racetrack on the schedule, but you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. His spotter, Brett Griffin, told him, solid day so far. Talking about Harvick, he was telling Clint he's more shallow on his entry into 3 and 4. See if you can change yours up to mirror. It might help us even more.
I tell you, we talk about these young drivers, rookies, and everything else, but that kid running 3rd right now in the 3 car, Austin Dillon, he has been hanging around the front all day long. He and Slugger Labby, they got a really good combination going, and I like the way that car looks right now. He's closing up on the back of Brad Keselowski here.
You see right there, Brad Keselowski actually missed the bottom, missed that yellow line, and the 3 of Austin Dillon dove in there, hooked it, and gained a lot of spots or time on the 2.
Yeah, Dillon's last lap more than a 10th. This lap 2/10 better than Keselowski. Here's 5th place. Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch.
You think about the 31 of Newman. He qualified outside pole. That's a teammate to Austin Dillon. He's been running good today, and that 3 car here late in the going looks pretty darn good.
Vince?
Well, that 41 of Kurt Busch, boy, we've mentioned it multiple times today, how he felt like he's been on roller skates. Finally, they've started to feel like they're making some ground on the balance, getting better, but still got a ways to go, but at least they know they're going the right direction. Matt?
And when you look at RCR, DW hit on it perfectly. Richard Childress sure must be proud. A lot of resources added to this team, especially in the offseason. And Larry Mack, I'm not sure how many engineers they had when you worked there, but they have almost 70 now. The crew chiefs, the addition of Matt Borland, they share an office. That way they can brainstorm, come up with better ideas. At RCR right now, it's 1 team, 3 cars, and it's certainly effort is equaling results.
And Austin was telling me that they're trying to change the culture down there, to upgrade everything, to upgrade their equipment, upgrade their technology, bring in new people, bring in new ideas. Paying off today.
Yeah, engineering is where the speed is at these days in NASCAR.
Dillon currently 3rd, 2.7 seconds back. Joey Logano made another stop, as did Dale Earnhardt Jr., and they're going to need at least 1 more to get to the finish. Logano now 2 laps down, and Earnhardt 6 laps off pace.
Keselowski's done a nice job too, Mike. I mean, here he is running 2nd. He had some issues early on. They played some good pit strategy. Got a car smoking here in 3 and 4, coming off turn 4, guys.
Trouble for Greg Galding, the youngster from Virginia. Came up through Legends Cars, K&N Series, and
that one's coming out the pipe.
Something went big.
As my friend Sterling Marlin would say, she blowed up.
And Denny Hamlin goes back to the garage. And let's get a race recap from Chris Myers.
All right, thank you very much. With 62 laps to go, Kevin Harvick started on the pole, dominated early. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a tire issue, comes into the pits. He was running 24th. Look at that tire torn up. And then stage 1 winner, Kevin Harvick. Remember, he won a stage the previous Sunday at the Daytona 500. Keselowski coming in with some tire issues.
Yeah, they had a tire come apart. We've seen a lot of that today. The team's just pushing these tires as hard as they possibly can. Jimmy Johnson issues on pit road as well, speeding.
Yeah, Chad upset. We've had at least 9 drivers with speeding penalties today. Stage 2 winner, Kevin Harvick. It's been an all Harvick afternoon.
Can you say domination? Because that's what we've seen. It's been impressive. The 11 car burnt up a left rear hub. That's something you don't see very often. He goes to the garage, but remember, he can return because of a mechanical issue.
Pit road is open. Now let's check in with Vince Welch.
Brad Keselowski, 4-time winner last season. One of the favorites today by the way that they had run throughout the course of the weekend in practice. No different today. Very strong, but it's been a little bit too free all day long. Hoping to tighten it up just a bit for the stretch run, Jamie.
Austin Dillon in the 3, best ever finished 3rd. That's where he was running when he came in. No changes once again for the 3. Chase Elliott, a 4-tire stop. Car has been pretty good, Matt.
Kyle Larson says it's getting much more difficult for him to stay down on that yellow line, just pushing the nose too much. Meanwhile, Harvick says, let's keep it the same as we did on the last stop. The 4 guys, solid stop again.
First time all day long, we're not going to see Kevin Harvick take the restart on the pole. He's going to be on the outside. We've seen people struggle out there. This is going to be interesting.
Let's take another look at the race off. I mean, this is Ford against Ford here. And there is Keselowski and the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. Harvick has led 247 laps of the 264 runs.
And remember last night in the truck race, the guy that started on the inside was dominant all day long. The fastest truck, Christopher Bell, got put up on the outside, shuffled all the way back to 6th or 8th. He had to fight his way through for the victory. Be interesting to see what Harvick can do with Keselowski.
Let's compare the 2 on the pit stop. Bell, by the way, won every stage, including the truck race. Harvick trying to do that today.
There you see, it's just a heck of a stop for Brad K's team. Harvick's team barely stumbled. Brad just maximized his speed on pit road as well.
2 drivers hungry for success in Atlanta. We mentioned that Harvick the last 3 years has led the most laps in Atlanta but hasn't won. His only win came in his first career Cup victory when he had that close finish in his 3rd career start to edge out Jeff Gordon. Well, MLS Soccer Sunday returning to FS1 with a high-powered matchup. Atlanta United making their Major League Soccer debut against the New York Red Bulls, 7:30 Eastern Time, MLS Soccer. Coverage beginning on FS1, and that is the new stadium, also the home of the defending NFC champion Atlanta Falcons. That will open the season, and that's also where the soccer team will play as well.
What a beautiful stadium, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching the soccer team debut there.
Affordable concessions, great view, and hopefully a lot of good soccer and good football, all kinds of football. Well, if Harvick doesn't win this one, he's going to be frustrated. But right now, Keselowski the slight edge with 60 to go, so let's head back up to Darrell, Jeff, and Mike.
So Brad Keselowski will have lane choice on this restart. We'll probably take the inside. And let's show you how he beat Kevin Harvick off pit road.
Yeah, you'll watch here, Mike. Harvick couldn't get going. He was spinning his tires. You see here, he's spinning. He just couldn't get forward bite. While he was spinning his tires, here comes Keselowski.
And what generates a lot of that, yeah, you see him still spinning. Same thing happens on these restarts. You see somebody in your mirror, you know somebody's next to you, and you just push that throttle a little bit harder and spin the tires a little more than you'd like.
That driver time they show was 3/10 from there, so wasn't nothing bad at all. Now it just can't keep going right there on those 2 asphalt patches.
Yeah, so that's one thing that's unique about that #1 pit stall. It's a great pit stall as far as positioning, but the difference is you come from concrete to pavement. Once you leave that concrete, it's a lot less grip on the pavement.
Plus, as you said, you see somebody coming and you makes it just a little more aggressive, and it made it that much worse.
Now our leader is Brad Keselowski. It'll be at least another lap or so before the restart. Vince.
Well, concern and a long conversation amongst the crew as to whether or not maybe they didn't get one of the tires or the wheels on tight. They're discussing it, a long conversation with Paul Wolf and company and the crew on the wall, and they just told Brad Keselowski, we're going to have to come back.
Oh, man.
Now there are 14 cars on the lead lap, including Matt Kenseth, who got the free pass. He was the first car 1 lap down. If Keselowski surrenders the lead, he would restart 14th. And there are still safety trucks working out on the track, cleaning up.
So they'll
out
go
at 3 and 4.
They'll go back, and those pit crew members have a camera on their helmet. They'll watch them hit those lug nuts to confirm whether they indeed did miss one of those lug nuts and need to come back in.
And they got the, I think they got the pulse thing in the air gun as well, in the airline
Oh,
itself.
that's right. Yeah,
so
maybe.
they can tell if they got everything tight. So that's a fortunate for Harvick, lucky for him, but not so much.
Rather
for
be lucky than good any day, right?
But you got to take your losses now. You can't take a chance.
Yeah.
So it'll be 58 laps to go here in Atlanta. Let's have a look at things that have happened thus far.
Everybody home, sit back, relax, enjoy the race. It's going to be a good one. Long, long race. You know the deal.
Look at this action.
I can move up and go faster, but I was under the impression I need to be on the bottom. We got to go fast on the bottom. Started to show more speed now. Might have a right front going down here, coming apart. I think we're okay.
So Brad Keselowski made his stop. Vince?
Yep, they just came in and hit the lugs on the left rear and sent him back out. He was told by crew chief Paul Wolf, sorry about that. Brad said, we win together.
So that's going to cost him 13 positions as they hit all 5 of those lugs. Make sure that they are tight. He goes back 13 positions. Not a big deal. Still on the lead lap. What's that do to a driver's psyche?
It's going to fire up Brad Keselowski, I can tell you that.
Well, it's coming pretty late in the race, and you start that far back, and of course, Kevin Harvick, he's having a charmed day. He's got the #1 pit, so he starts on the pole. Looks like he's going to restart on the outside, which is not a good place to be. Might have caused him some problems. Now he's right back where
I think we were all really anxious to see what he was going to do in that outside lane.
We really were.
Well, but now, because Keselowski pitted, back to the lead goes Kevin Harvick. But 5 of the last 6 Atlanta races, Kevin Harvick has led the most laps. Hasn't been to victory lane.
Saving a little fuel here on this caution lap. You just never know when fuel is going to play a role.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, anytime you can save fuel, we all know you got to save fuel, so that's a good thing.
Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Busch, Ty Dillon, a whole lot of cars just took the wave around.
You know, guys, it is right there on the threshold of being able to make it to the end on fuel, but that would be by a long shot the furthest anybody has run on tires today. That would be my concern.
Yeah, Larry, sometimes they're not just saving fuel, they're actually cooling the engine down, because if that engine's not running, air's flowing through the radiator, so there's some performance gain there as well.
Well, and the other thing, it's cooled down. The pace has picked up. They've been running a lot quicker laps than we did earlier today. That burns more fuel, so fuel is an issue.
It was sunny at the start. The track temp was 108 degrees. The asphalt now 81 degrees.
Yes, sir.
Save me fuel now, that means least amount I have to put in when I do pit.
Yeah, you're right.
Good point.
Save that fuel.
Here we go. It'll be 56 to go when they take the green. Harvick on the inside of the front row. Austin Dillon will battle from the outside. Harvick has Chase Elliott filling up his mirror in third.
I believe Chase Elliott can give Harvick a run for his money here for a few laps. He was able to hang with him in the last restart. We'll see how it goes.
And Kurt Busch is up to row 2 and 4th. Kyle Larson, Clint Boyer in the 3rd row. Ryan Newman, Eric Jones, Jamie McMurray, Ricky Stenhouse. They are the top 10. 14 lead lap cars. Here we go. And Dillon didn't get going.
Can't go. Going to cause a mess.
Wow, look at this on the inside of the 42. It goes Newman.
Eric Jones up the middle.
Larson fighting back on the outside. Whoa, we saw Chase Elliott slide right up in front of the 42 of Larson and
Wow.
He gets the inside, a little contact back here between
Boyer bounced off the
Eric
wall
Jones.
and got Eric Jones. That was eventful.
Does he have a tire?
It was a mess. You knew it would be with that restart, the way they bottled everything up.
Thought maybe Boyer had a tire issue. It looks like it maybe just got loose getting into turn 3.
Boy, that outside line, that is just a kiss of death, man. When you get out there, you just can't go anywhere.
Yeah, Boyer's rubbing all the letters off those left side tires.
Whoa, what a terrible thing to have happen.
Damage to the left front fender as well there.
I think he's got... Just watch Boyer. He's right back here. I think that's him.
Yep.
Trying to get to the outside of Jones.
Gets a little bit of contact with the outside wall and the left side tires.
Yeah, Jones had his teammate Mark Truex Jr. on the inside of him. He tried to give him some room, and then Boyer snuck in there on the outside. They made contact.
That whole restart was just, it was obvious it was going to be a mess.
Just unbelievable to me how hard it is to gain traction in that outside lane.
Let's go back to the restart and ride with Kurt Busch, who was right behind Austin Dillon, restarting 4th.
1, going, green flag, free struggling. 14's on your bumper here. Inside looking, inside quarter, inside. Watch your 14 up top here. You're top of 3. Top's good. Inside quarter clear. Keep coming. Inside quarter 1, clear the 1.
Restarted 4th, and there he is 6th, battling for 5th.
And then dive into the outside of Austin Dillon as they got to 3 and 4. Now, one of the reasons he got stacked up, he actually had a pretty good restart and anticipated well, but you cannot pass that car until you get past the start-finish line.
And I thought Austin was down on the door of the 4 pretty good. I thought that might help, but it didn't help a bit.
Yeah, but did you see Kevin Harvick straighten his car up and pull away from him right as he accelerated? That actually gave him a little bit of extra boost.
Tough sledding for Brad Keselowski because of having to tighten that wheel. He restarted 14th, and he's only gained 2 positions. Chase Elliott has a run on Kyle Larson.
Not quite yet. He's got to hook that yellow line. There he goes. So keep it on that yellow line. That'll get them side by side. Now it's all about what happens down in 1 and 2. Larson will choose that high line, carry the momentum off of turn 2. Chase Elliott's going to have to be real disciplined down here to the yellow line.
This should be where they had 42 should get a big run off the corner right here and be able to clear Chase down the straightaway.
Chase has rebounded nicely from that speeding penalty back on lap 212.
In the meantime, the 4 car of Kevin Harvick just looking back saying, boy, y'all are having fun back there, aren't you?
Matt.
Mike, the discipline for Kyle Larson running the bottom actually began Saturday in the Xfinity Series races. Spotter Derek Nealon told him at one point, you need to get used to running on the bottom. I know you want to go up high, but this is where we're going to run most of Sunday, so let's start to get used to it. Both Chip Ganassi cars running in the top 6. Both cars had a great end of 2016. They've carried over that momentum, and they're very proud of the fact that those are in-house Chip Ganassi chassis. Only engine leasing from Hendrick. Good start to 2017.
And I think that's the difference in Kyle Larson this year and maybe in the past. He will listen and he will take instruction. I think a lot better this year than what we've seen in the past.
There's his teammate, Jamie Mack, to the outside of Austin Dillon.
Yeah, and I apologize. Thank you for clearing that up, Matt. They had been running those Hendrick chassis, but now have switched to their own.
Brad Keselowski inside of Clint Boyer. And Keselowski moves up to 11th.
Well, Clint was all the way up to 3rd place.
Yeah, I think
prior to that state or that caution.
I think he's had to adjust. Maybe I think there's a little bit of damage to his car. He got in the wall, maybe knocked the toe out a little bit. Got to kind of figure out what it's going to do and then get back at it.
Car to wall, turn 1.
There, keep it up there, keep it up there, keep it up there, keep it up there.
I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, that damage.
Keep it up there, man. After the 22, we get down. Yellows out, yellows out, yellows out, yellows out.
That's from getting in the wall there, you know, in that earlier contact.
Looks like the left front tire. Yeah, that fender damage there. Eventually rubbed that left front tire.
What a shame.
Boyer was 11th.
Had a great day going. See the sparks.
Yeah, on the left front splitter right there, just goes straight. Not a huge impact. They might be able to make some repairs.
Almost looked, it was dragging at both ends on the left side.
I think it's sparks were just coming all the way under the car, Mike. I believe what it looked like.
Once the left front drops down,
yeah,
then that gets the left rear down as well. Good boy, he's got pretty good damage on the right.
He hit that. You know, from up here it never looks that bad, but he hit it pretty hard.
So here's where all that started.
Yeah, you
right
see him
here.
back here. Going to make a little contact here.
So there's the left front.
Yeah.
A little bit of right rear, not too bad. Another little more contact there with Eric Jones. That's all it takes. So these fenders are really, really close.
Cause, and here's the effect.
Bam. That's harder look than it,
yeah,
than it looks
from
like.
that angle, it definitely looked a little harder.
Yeah.
So Clint Boyer is on the crash damage clock as they try to effect repairs on pit road.
We only ran 10 laps, but trust me, pit road and the pit crews will be busy, just like I started at the top of the day. Jamie.
They just need gas.
And Austin Dillon told his team, well, guys, I know you saw it, but he spun his tires coming in. So they're going to take 4, and then Chase Elliott in the 24. There was kind of a debate if they should make a small adjustment here, because on the first 2 laps, his splitter is in the track, but he's not sure they should touch it because it's good. Matt?
Kyle Larson, no changes in the last stop. The car was on the splitter this run, a little bit more on the tight side. Meanwhile, Harvick on the bottom said his car needed to have an adjustment, much more free this run. And the 31 service complete on Newman. Possible air pressure change there. Who's going to win it, Mike?
That would be Harvick once again.
Yeah, he whipped. He got way out. He didn't come straight out this time. He got out onto the pit lane, and I think that really helped him.
Casey Kane will get the free pass for the 2nd time today.
Yeah, watch him this time, Mike. He's going to shoot. He's going to get out of that, try to get out here in the pit lane and not run through those asphalt patches.
Yeah, that definitely helped him launch out of there a lot better.
Much better. See, he got beat last time by getting stuck on all that right there, and he learned his lesson.
Matt?
Mike, the first pit stall used to be on the pavement. Harvick chose that a couple years ago, and he dealt with this issue, slipping and sliding all race long. Now he's on the concrete pad. He told me at the car before he buckled in that he's going to be cognizant of the fact that he's going to be going from concrete to asphalt. DW, like you mentioned, he told me he's going to try to swing to the right as quickly as possible.
1 penalty, and it's on Ryan Newman. The front tire changer was over the wall too soon.
That's bad news. 1 and 4th.
Newman was 4th. The biggest conference tourney in college hoops coming to FS1. Number 2 Villanova looks to earn a number 1 NCAA seed against a bevy of top teams looking to steal the Big East title and fight their way into March Madness. The Big East tournament live from Madison Square Garden starts Wednesday, only on FS1.
That was a heck of a ball game last night between North Carolina and Duke. It was fun to watch.
That's Clint Boyer still on the crash clock. And let's show you the pro officiating system that caught Ryan Newman.
Yeah, what you're going to see here is the front tire changer. That red line indicates they can't go across the wall to that. He's right there. That signifies 1 pit box away. Yeah, you can see he's already over the wall right there. So that in the penalty under caution, he's going to have to start at the tail end of the field.
Need a review of that. We had the 41 coming in right in front of us and buzzing all our guys. I don't quite understand how they could have been over too soon.
Yeah, it looked to me like the 42 was blocking because he came into his pit stall, which is just 1 or 2 stalls ahead of the 31. And when he did that, they couldn't see the 31. So I think, unfortunately, their pit crew guy just jumped a little bit too soon because he was trying to anticipate it.
I think he thought he was hiding behind that 42 and nobody would see him.
Nothing hides from the pro system.
The pro system's got eyes everywhere, brother.
Well, I think it was Luke Lambert. He said the 42 buzzed our pit crew. You know, like came real close to the wall, almost like a brushback.
Yeah, but that still doesn't have anything to do with you stepping over the wall.
If you're over the wall too soon, that's very possible.
You're over the wall.
Yeah, you get buzzed when your feet are in the pit box.
Well, here we go.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learned making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR.
Let's see if anybody, the 24 is out there. Chase Elliott's out there again on that outside. There's got to be a way to make that outside work, guys.
A couple of fellas have come off even with Harvick, but nobody's beat him.
Well, and NASCAR's addressed some of this in the last couple of years, where you can't get a run. You can't get too far back. If you're Chase Elliott, you can't pull back and then gain momentum as you get there to try to anticipate that 4-car of Kevin Harvick starting. That's what you would ultimately want to do in this situation, and that's what makes it so tough. It's so slick. There's just no rear grip out there.
13 cars took the wave around. That puts Joey Logano back on the lead lap.
And I just think this outside car is out of the groove just enough that there's enough dirt, debris, and it's just not enough traction there on that outside line.
Let's find out. Green flag. Whoa, here comes Larson looking. No room to move up until still no room.
This is the best I've seen anybody in the outside do. Look at that. The 24 shoots by. He's going to have a run on Harvick right here. It doesn't quite get there.
He's going to have a run to Harvick.
Yeah.
Once
Harvick
Harvick
the
gets
outside lane here, watch.
Once Harvick gets to the corner, he just takes off.
Boy, a lot of sparks coming out of the back of Kevin Harvick's car. Low air pressure.
Well, I think the speeds have picked up too.
Yeah, and the speeds
much faster now that the track's cool.
You're right about that. Chase Elliott went to the high side. He's got a big run coming. I don't know if he's going to quite get there this time either.
I think that 4-car is bottoming out a little bit more than we've seen all day long, and it hurt him a little bit in 1 and 2 that time. Wait for the air to come up in his tires, but that'll stop.
Jamie?
2 stops ago, Alan Gustafson told his driver, Chase Elliott, all right, let's go race. He loosened up the reins on Chase, and that last stop, there was debate, should we make any changes? They didn't. The car is good.
And here comes Keselowski. He's fought back to 5th after they made that extra stop to tighten the lug nut. He restarted 14th that time, has worked his way up through, and now he's back in the top 5, gunning for 4th.
He is going to be there. Eventful day Keselowski has. He's been all over the place. And he's going somewhere now.
Yeah, he's got a fast race car.
Clint Boyer has stayed on the lead lap, and he has cleared the crash clock. Let's go back to that restart and listen to Kevin Harvick as he takes off once he gets to the restart zone. Here we go.
Pushing you pretty good. He's crooked on you. Watch your middle. He's off you, but right to you. You're clear. He's not.
Yeah, now we know why the 24 and the 42 were able to stay right with him. He actually had quite a bit of wheel spin as he jumped on the gas in 2nd gear, probably more than he wanted.
But you hear what he did? He spun the wheels a little in 2nd gear, but he immediately went to 3rd to stop it, and he really accelerated forward when he did.
Ryan Newman came to his pit stall. They weren't ready for him, and they're pushing it behind the wall. We'll update when we come back. Kevin Harvick leading Chase Elliott by 0.7 of a second. We'll go side by side.
gonna be the next big thing?
What a move!
These guys have an idea.
3 and 4 wide, fighting for position.
He knew he was up against the best.
Getting food to hungry older Americans cannot stop, and it won't. Hey, these are our parents and our grandparents out there. Let's start talking about how we can really get to the root of the problem.
Hey, we hear you. Fighting hunger doesn't stop here. I'm working with AARP Foundation's Drive-In Hunger team to change the national conversation around hunger, bring experts together, and make programs better than ever. If you don't think we're in this together when you think AARP, then you don't know ARP. Learn more at aarp.org/possibilities.
Get the ball inside early. We're just moments away from adding a new chapter to college basketball's most storied rivalry.
Get closer to the action like never before with NASCAR Race Hub on FS1. At the track.
Looks like Superman won.
In the shop.
Catching up with Joey Logano.
On the headsets and behind the scenes.
Every night, the place to be.
All season long. Hear the story from the drivers who lived it.
That's how tough the track was to drive.
And get the ultimate setup from the legends of the sport.
You can't script it. There's certain things out of your control.
NASCAR Race Hub. Weeknights at 6 Eastern on FS1.
How about Matt Kenseth in the 20? He's overcome 2 speeding penalties today for battle for 5th. Now, Ryan Newman's car was pushed at a brisk pace to the garage, indicating they want to fix that and get him back out there. They lost the battery. Newman said it got down to about 10.5 volts, was dropping fast, and they elected, or couldn't, change that out on pit road.
Yeah, I think you could change it on the green, maybe lose 3 or 4 laps. And let me show you with our Ford Cutaway car how easy that is to change. It's located right there in front of the left rear tire. And you see that right there? That's just like a quick disconnect. So you take that aluminum door off, after taking the left rear tire off, slide that battery out, slide one in, throw the left rear tire on, and just go. 3 to 4 laps maximum, I think you would lose.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a little bit more explanation as to why they couldn't do that or didn't have that battery out on pit road.
They didn't have a battery in the pits.
Yeah. Some teams will actually have 2 batteries, have a backup battery in case something like this happens.
But you said something that almost shocked me there a second ago. Matt Kenseth's running 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't mentioned Matt, I don't think, much all day, and here he is late in the day, going, late in a 500-miler, and he shows up.
Isn't that Matt Kenseth's style, though? He just kind of rides along there. You go, where did he come from?
This race is 296 laps down. He spent 211 of them 1 or more laps behind. Vince?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a battle for that 20 car, but they've been working on it all day long, trying to get the right balance. Remember, he was really good here last year, led 47 laps, but got a penalty on pit road, went a couple of laps down, ended up 19th. Not indicative of how good they were, and they were pretty confident coming in that they would be competitive. It's taken them a while to get there, but that's why they run 500 miles, right? You use them all.
Absolutely. Jamie, it's rather shocking that Ryan Newman would be still in the garage if it's just a battery.
Right, and that's what they're thinking, that maybe the alternator failed as well. Luke Lambert, the crew chief, told me he didn't have a battery in the pits, but he also said we knew we would have to jack it up too high to do it out on pit road. So they knew they had to bring it back to the garage. They're going to put a new battery and see if that works. If it doesn't, they're done.
All I know is I got a lot of homework to do before we get to Vegas.
Yes,
I got to figure out why you have to jack it up high to get that left rear tire off and open the battery door.
It sounds to me like they've decided to put their battery in a different location than most teams to try to get the center of gravity lower.
Remember the underbody packages that everybody's working on? It could very well have something to do with that.
I think you may have nailed it right there, DW. Might be why those cars are pretty fast right now,
It might be.
Boys, Brad Keselowski is coming. He just passed Kyle Larson for 3rd. And now we see Martin Truex underneath Kurt Busch. This is for 7th place. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick continues to lead everybody by 1.7 seconds, Matt.
Mike, obviously a stellar race car on the racetrack, but the guys here on pit road on the 4-car have done a tremendous job today. Eric Maycroft, Daniel Smith, the changers, Stan Doolittle, the Jackman, Gasman, Justin White, Matt Holzbauer, and Mike Morneau, Shrek. They have done an excellent job, and you look at how they've really upped their entire pit crew operation across the 4 teams. They've improved the jacks by lightening those this year. Ira Joe Hussey did a great job, but Brian Watson has done an excellent job improving the guns. The changers hit patterns with the next generation Stewart Haas gun in early February. They had a choice. They went with the 2017 version. It's really certainly proved to be a good choice. Excellent stops. Good way to start the year. They're hoping to start it out here with a win here at Atlanta.
Oh, boys, I've got some trends of the race for you.
Woo-hoo, what are they, Larry?
If you look at the last 10 spring races here at Atlanta, the last caution, average lap 325 to go, and 3 out of the last 4 spring races, we've had overtime.
Well, we better get ready then. Get all geared up here. We got
ready.
some action.
Fifth place, Kenseth and Dillon. They're running about 6 seconds behind leader Kevin Harvick.
Certainly Kevin Harvick doesn't want to see that trend continue, Larry Mack, because, man, has he dominated this race today.
Let's not give this away. Remember 2014, Harvick won the pole, led 195 laps before a late race restart accident caused him to finish 19th.
People know me as Dale Earnhardt Jr. race car driver, but I have many sides. I'm also an animal lover, and to my animals, I'm the whisperer. Gus, hey, sit. Where are you going? I know one that'll listen to me. Old Junebug. Junebug, hey. Well, there's 2 I can always count on. That's Laverne and Vera. Come on, girl, speak up. Well, as you can see, we're making some progress. For protecting your pets and more, Nationwide is on your side.
Got him. Burn down, bud. Burn down. Sit behind you.
In a race that stimulates all 5 senses, you're gonna need every single one of them.
Okay, that's a 1-piece breast, $5. Pot pie costs you $5. That's a famous bowl, 5 bills. Tenders for a $5, and that's my 2-piece original recipe, also $5. That's 5 real meals, each for $5. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Green flag is in the air.
The stage is set for an act of redemption. Last year's national champions let the conference tourneys slip through their grasp. Now, the Big East best go to battle again in college hoops' most legendary tournament. The Big East Tournament, Wednesday at 7 Eastern on FS1.
Got kids 12 and under? Come to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race, and any kid under 12 gets in free. Get your tickets today.
Fighting hard with 19 laps to go. Matt Kenseth slides up the racetrack. Austin Dillon is right back underneath him.
Crossover. Nice move.
Eric Jones, Kurt Busch for 9th on the right of your screen as we're inside 20 to go. Ryan Newman has returned to the race with a new battery. Corey LaJoie brushed the wall, made another pit stop, but we stay green.
And now here's a battle between Matt Kenseth and Mark Truex Jr. up. Is there a problem with the 3-car? Yeah, he's down on the apron.
That doesn't look good.
He's coming in.
It's got to be a tire issue, I guess.
Paul Menard, his teammate, is in, and here comes Dillon.
Stay on the racetrack. Cycle the power if you can. Cycle the power for 3 seconds, please.
Sounds like he's got a battery issue.
Jamie?
And all he did was yell. I I'm out of power. They told him to stay on the track, stay on the track. They're telling him to hit his switches, reboot it, talking him through it right now. They don't want him to come in just yet, but he has no power.
No, he was in 5th place. Now he's down to the apron in turn 1.
No, it just won't start.
And this will likely bring out a caution.
Put the batteries in. You guys got to go to the garage.
It's the battery. Another battery.
Yeah, we think, you know, something's going on with their alternators. It's not charging the battery.
Anything on the volt gauge or anything? Any indication of anything you give us? The screen is completely shut off. Completely shut off, the screen. Okay, go to the garage when you get there.
And there's the caution at lap 310.
Love your trends, Larry.
Larry, you're going to have some explaining to do to your former teammates about this last caution coming out.
I don't make this stuff up. I just look at the numbers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was an interesting choice to stay out on the track when what just happened to their teammate. They knew what it was, but they seemed to want to run through some different modes within the electronics, thinking that it might fire up.
You know, one time it's like a coincidence. Second time there's something with the teammates here. He had a chance to come on pit road and they told him to stay out.
There'll be no free pass. May have been that Dillon was a lap down by the time the caution came out and he was in the free pass position, but since he caused the caution, he's not eligible.
I was just going to say, I think Larry's homework just got a little bit bigger.
All right, guys, we got bigger fish to fry. We got
your top 5: Harvick, Elliott, Keselowski, Larson, Kenseth. 14 cars on the lead lap.
What do you think, Larry? Take 2 tires? No, sir.
I'm in and I'm not leaving till you give me 4.
Here's Vince.
Reminding Brad Keselowski again, no speeding. He'll hit the first pit box. It'll be 4 tires and fuel for Brad K as they get to the finish. They talked about a little tape on the front end as well. Loose is what he has fought through the day. Jamie?
Only thing wrong with the 24 the last few runs is the splitter is in the track. He said, I need an adjustment. Let's fix it so I can get through 1 and 2 better. Matt?
Larson putting pressure on the pit crew, saying if we can just pick up 1 spot, I get the inside. I think we can win this thing. Meanwhile, no changes for Harvick. They're preparing for the short run. Rodney Childers told him, when you leave the box, swing right as quick as you can, and he does.
And he beats Kyle Larson and Matt Kenseth and Keselowski to the end of pit road.
That 4 team has been on it, man. They have nailed every stop.
But look at the nice pickup by Kyle Larson and Matt Kenseth. And for Casey Kane, he's a +5. So my son's having a viewing party back in North Carolina, and he texts me, well, why is the 31 allowed to come back out? Because it was a mechanical issue and not crash damage. So he's eligible to return to the racetrack, and did after putting in a new battery. Chris Myers?
Well, Mike, you said battery's an issue with the Richard Childress racing cars, but all day speeding penalties, 9 with 7 different drivers having an effect on this race.
And remember, they increased the speeding sections on pit road by nearly double. So these drivers are pushing for every mile an hour they can possibly get, pushing it too far.
There was only 1 speeding penalty for the entire Atlanta race last year. The frustration of crew chiefs had put Jimmy Johnson and his effort to win 3 straight Atlanta races, which has never been done, out the window. And just moments ago, the Kevin Harvick crew, the pit stop, that's his 9th stop of the day, first out of the pits. He's dominated this race. They've certainly done their part.
No doubt. And that team has been on it all day long. Just think about that. All these speeding penalties. And what are you hearing now?
It's just unbelievable. Harvick, too fast entering. Is that accurate?
That's what we're hearing.
We were just doing speeding penalty, that he had not had a speeding penalty all day. Sections 10 and 11. This is the first speeding penalty against Kevin Harvick.
That is unbelievable. Like I was saying, the team had been perfect. Harvick had not put a wheel wrong all day long. And now on the money stop, the one where you can't make a mistake, whether you're changing a tire or driving the car, they make a mistake.
All right, so Mike, that shakes things up quite a bit with 13 to go.
Oh, this changes everything, Chris. It puts Kyle Larson in the lead. Matt Kenseth second. Keselowski, Elliott, and Kane.
I didn't even think I was pushing it. All the way to the back, Timmy. I'm so sorry, guys.
13 laps to go. For the 5th time in the last 6 years, Kevin Harvick has led the most laps. And now it'll have to be a Herculean come from behind for Harvick to get to victory lane.
Won both stages, dominated this race, and then this.
Yeah, I mean, not only does he have to go lose those positions, he has to go to the tail end of the longest line. So it's not like he's right there behind the lead lap cars. That's a lot of cars to get through in just, what, 12, 11 laps. So he's going to need some cautions and some miracles.
Unless a couple of cars pit now or lay over for Harvick, he will be restarting 35th in line.
That is unbelievable. I didn't see that coming.
Now, Jimmy Johnson took the wave around, but then pitted, so he will be held a lap to take away the lap he gained with the wave around. Kevin Harvick had a fantastic, flawless day. Had the most laps led at Atlanta by a non-winner ever, because now, with just 13 to go, he has a speeding penalty.
Just bragged on that Ford pit crew. What an incredible job they have done all day. And that stop was another one of them. He got out perfect, but this.
But, you know, go back to Daytona a week ago. What did we learn there? It's all about the last lap. Look what happened with Kurt Busch to win the Daytona 500. All he had to do was lead one lap, the last lap, to win that race.
But it's why we call it the money stop. I mean, it truly is a lot of pressure on everybody.
See Chad Knaus just informed of being held a lap. Discussing that.
That inspector is a brave man.
When you take the wave around, you gain a lap on the field, and you're not allowed to pit. If you pit, you're giving that lap back.
Well, look who's leading the race, guys.
So Johnson will restart from the pit lane. Larson Kenseth on the front row. Chevy versus Toyota. Then Elliott Keselowski. Here we go.
Whoa. Boy, Keselowski had that 42 sideways there for a second. Uh-oh, Chase got a terrible restart.
Yeah, the 41 of Kurt Busch got to the outside of him.
Here comes Kenseth. Keselowski on the outside.
Getting ugly out in the back there. Woo.
Oh, yeah, big stack up 3 wide, middle of the pack. And Kyle Larson brings him around. Austin Dillon back in the race.
And
10 to go.
Brett Keselowski has fought up and down all day long, and here he is with a chance. Got a chance.
This is where I talked about earlier in the race about that short run speed on the 2 car and those Penske cars. That's where they've been so good in the past.
Harvick is mowing him down, but he is more than half a straightaway behind the leader. Coming fast, but it'll be 9 laps to go for Kyle Larson.
Larson has opened up that gap a little bit between he and Keselowski. Oh, Larson went high that time. He'd been running the bottom, but he moved up in a higher lane there, Jeff, that time.
Yeah,
did that help him?
The 2 of Keselowski ran the higher lane the time before that. Keselowski's just going to go wherever Larson doesn't, all the way here to the finish.
I don't really believe that helped the 42 that much. It looked like it hurt him a little bit.
We've seen that. That hurt Harvick earlier as well.
Been running the bottom all day. Stick to it.
Now watch. He'll go back to the bottom. I bet the 2 goes to the top.
3 drivers just ran their fastest lap of the race. Larson, Kenseth, and Kane.
What is he doing? Why is he doing that?
Yeah, the 2 cars going to get there.
My. I would have stuck on the bottom. The 42's been good down there all day.
I don't know if maybe he felt something where the car was a little bit too tight on this run. And he didn't feel as comfortable down there. I'll be really surprised if he doesn't go down there this time. And look at the 2 get a great run off of turn 4.
Let's see what he does.
Chip Ganassi watching.
No, sir.
No, he doesn't.
He sticks to that high line. I just don't understand this.
But that's his happy place, up top.
He hadn't been up there all day,
yeah,
Mike.
But I know. Look at this. The 2 now has position on him. That's going to definitely change this up. He's going to go up top, see if he can't get a big run from the top off of turn 4.
Clear by 2. 6 laps to go. Clear by 3.
Boy, that's music to Brad Keselowski's ears.
What an incredible comeback from the two of Brad Keselowski. Now he goes up high and the 42 goes low.
The 42 would be leading this race if it just stayed on the bottom.
Did you see how the two-car Keselowski's turned right in the middle of the corner to get back down to the bottom?
Kevin Harvick has climbed to 11th, but he's still 5.5 seconds back of the lead, and it'll be 5 laps to go. What a day for Keselowski. They made an extra pit stop to tighten a wheel. Did you count them out? At your own peril, you did. And Joey Logano, what a recovery for him as he battles Chase Elliott and Kurt Busch for 5th.
And Mike, the 4-car just got back in the top 10 this last time by.
Remember a couple of cautions ago, Logano took the wave around to get back on the tail end of the lead lap. He has made the most of it. Harvick into the top 10, but too little too late.
Boy, he has passed a lot of race cars in a hurry. I mean, woo.
And Casey Kane, who's taken the free pass twice today, is in the top 5.
This is a great track historically for Casey Kane. He's got a couple wins here.
Yeah, Kane has won here from the pole.
It's just an incredible. The guys in front of the field, Keselowski, even Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, these guys all had trouble earlier in the day, and here they are all in the top 5.
Kyle Larson at Daytona passed for the win on the last lap, ran out of gas. At Homestead was leading with 3 to go. Didn't get to victory lane, and here in Atlanta, looks like he's going to be the bridesmaid again with 3 to go. There's Harvick into the top 10. Moving on, Jamie McMurray for 9th. And there's the distance to the lead.
I saw Brad Keselowski missed that yellow line at 3 and 4 a couple laps ago, and the 42 really pulled up on him when that happened. That's how quick it can change.
Saw Keselowski that time. He went really, really high in 1 and 2. Seemed to help him, unlike the 42 who just needed to stay on the bottom.
And the white flag waves. We'll have 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. When they made that extra pit stop to tighten up lug nuts, Keselowski and Paul Wolfe had a brief exchange. It's okay. We'll get there. They are there. 19 races since Keselowski's last victory. That was at Kentucky. He's got 7/10 on Kyle Larson. But for Roger Penske and Ford, Brad Keselowski wins the Folds of Honor QuikTrip 500. Kyle Larson second.
Brad, way to come back, man. Stuck with it. Appreciate that, man. It's a long day, and you did a great job. Thank you.
Matt Kenseth comes home 3rd. Casey Kane, Chase Elliott, the top 5.
Elite favorite for sure now.
Joey Logano, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick, and Jamie McMurray, the top 10.
That's 2 wins in a row for the Blue Oval.
Clint Boyer 11th, Trevor Bayne, Ricky Stenhouse, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon, Kyle Busch, and Danica Patrick finish on the lead lap. Brad Keselowski taking home the American flag. Is today's Sunoco fueling victory.
I love it. He wanted to make sure that flag was flying perfectly.
For Team Penske, it's their 104th career win in NASCAR's top series and their 4th here at Atlanta. And for Ford, who's pretty well dominated this track over the years, it's their 30th Atlanta win. And they are 2 for 2 in 2017. Brad Keselowski rebounds from a loose lug nut and wins in Atlanta.
Fireworks for Brad Keselowski, made up 13 spots over the last 58 laps. His first win in Atlanta in his 9th try, and 4. There's Joey Logano congratulating his Penske teammate. Ford finishing the first 2 races on top, but happiness for one driver, heartbreak for another. Let's go live to Jamie Little.
Well, Kevin Harvick dominated today, led 293 laps, and then the pit road speeding penalty. You fought back to finish 9th. What's your takeaway from today, Kevin?
I was going too fast on pit road, apparently. I really hate it for everybody on this Jimmy John's Ford. They put a great car under me and did everything we thought we needed to do. I knew I needed to be, close to pit road speed because we were having trouble getting out of the box, but I didn't think I was pushing it that close. But it gets the bounce in there, and you can't really tell where you're at, and that's why there's so many pit road speed penalties here, because you have to run it so close, and I was too fast.
Thanks, Kevin. Chris?
All right, thank you. A number of drivers with speeding penalties on pit road and had to overcome a lot. Brad Keselowski, an 8-to-1 choice in Las Vegas for the Atlanta race in victory lane, and fitting that he wins the Folds of Honor QuikTrip, because he has said that if he didn't race, he would have enlisted, and he has a checkered flag foundation that honors military personnel and first responders. As we check and look in on the winner, the unofficial results: Kyle Larson finishing 2nd. Matt Kenseth still winless in Atlanta.
What a rebound by Matt Kenseth and Casey Kane. Chase Elliott strong all day long. Joey Logano, also another guy who was able to fight back to the front.
Harvick all the way to 9th. Kurt Busch, your Daytona 500 winner, with a strong finish in this race. Kyle Busch, who had a busy weekend racing in the Xfinity and the trucks, winding up in the top 20. And let's check in with Matt Yoakum in victory lane.
Back in 2016, Team Penske won 2 of the 3 low downforce package races. And starting off 17 on a great note, but what great confidence you showed in this team, battling back from that lap 118, losing the lap on pit road.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Winning a sprint or a monster car race, that's the first love of the year. These aren't easy, and there's all kinds of adversity that comes at you no matter who you are. And Kevin was very, very strong and probably was the guy to beat, but we persevered. We had our own issues with a tire and a loose wheel, and we just fought through it all day, Matt, and got to Auto Trader Ford Fusion in Victory Lane. This is a big deal. Auto Trader's headquarters here in Atlanta, and we got all of them here, so that's great. And first win of the season locks you into the playoffs. That's great for our team, and just, gosh, that feels so good. What a great momentum, and got to fly the American flag at the Folds of Honor race. That just seems right. But even this Victory Lane, old school feeling of Victory Lane, and I love winning. When you win, Matt, you don't know if you're ever going to win again, and you go through some spells, and gosh, it feels good to get one early in the season like this. It's a great race with Kyle Larson and everybody, and just really got to thank my whole team here. They've been digging. We thought we were one of the cars to beat at Daytona, and kind of got wrecked out there. Didn't get to show our potential, but everybody here kept their heads up, move on to next week, and this is what you get with that kind of effort. So I'm really proud of my guys.
Put a check mark next to Atlanta, his first win here. Vince?
Chase Elliott ran in the top 5 all day. The Georgia native, boy, what a fan favorite that would have been if you could have brought it home. But you had a strong day today throughout the course. How'd you evaluate where you ended up as compared to the kind of car you had?
Yeah, I thought our Napa Chevy was awesome. I really didn't feel like Kevin's car was any better than ours. I think he just did a little better job driving and managing the bottom of the racetrack and keeping his tires on his car, and still going fast all at the same time. So I think we made a big chunk in the right direction. And for me, being able to keep up with him moving forward at this place is obviously really good. But the biggest thing is just having him, seeing him have a struggle there at the end, and us running second to him all day, all the way up to the very end, is pretty frustrating.
Well done, though. Nice work from Chase Elliott today, 5th place.
All right, Vince, 11 stops on pit road for Brad Keselowski. No speeding penalties. So after 2 races, stage racing is a big deal. Keselowski 2nd in the first stage today, 7th in the 2nd, and then winning. But Kevin Harvick, 3 stages won already to start the season, even though he hadn't won a race.
Well, you just got to think about what the drivers and what NASCAR wanted. The drivers said, we want to be rewarded for strong performance. If we dominate, we want points. NASCAR said, we got that. We can figure that one out. And they've done just that. You win stages, you get points. You have trouble at the end, it doesn't necessarily reflect on the way you performed all day. NASCAR's got this one exactly right.
I don't think drivers are going to petition the repave. They might petition speeding on pit road, right? That's something they're going to want to go over. Final thoughts from the guys upstairs, Mike?
I've got a headache with so many things I don't understand. Why didn't Larson stay on the bottom? Why couldn't the Childress team change batteries? Why so many speeding penalties? How did Matt Kenseth get to the front? What has Kevin Harvick got to do to win a race here?
So many incredible storylines today. Certainly congratulations to Brad Keselowski to persevere, as well as make that pass on Kyle Larson. I know Kyle gave him the opening, but he still had to make it happen. But boy, you can't help your heart go out to Kevin Harvick coming so close to getting that win.
Mike, there's an old school rule. Don't take the hats to victory circle before the race is over with. I think we saw that. I think we saw the reason why tonight.
But the silver lining into the day, Kevin Harvick's our points leader from those stage wins.
That's right.
He didn't go home empty-handed. He does have something.
He's in the front of the points. Here's Vince Welch.
Kyle Larson finishes second. You led the race in the late stages. You chose to go high in 1 and 2. Brad took the low line. Seemed like he made up a little ground. What was behind the decision there?
I raced around Brad a lot throughout the day, and you know, anytime I was in front of him on the short runs, he'd drive around me up top, and so I knew I was gonna have to take his line away on that start there after a couple laps, and tried. I just didn't have enough grip, you know, out there in the lead, and or not as much as I'd hoped. So he did a good job, you know, being a lane lower than me and getting to my inside. So, you know, disappointed we didn't get the win, but happy, you know, about our second place run at a mile and a half where I struggle at. So, you know, can't thank everybody at the shop enough. You know, the Fab Shop for building great race cars, Hendrick Engines for supplying us with great engines, and had a blast today. The Target Chevy was good. I ran the bottom a lot, which is not typically something I do. So it was a lot of fun to learn how to, you know, kind of use both feet to get around the bottom and you do a good job of that.
Nice job. Kyle Larson, second place.
We heard Kyle's explanation. You've observed. We know the result. Worth a second guess here?
I don't know. Brad Keselowski is so fast on the short run. Jeff Gordon pointed that out early in the day. Kyle knew exactly what Brad had and what he was going to have to do to keep him behind him. He decided to run the high line. He didn't think he could hold him off on the bottom. He made a judgment call. I believe in Kyle Larson. I think he's going to win a lot of races, but he just got beat by a faster car on the short haul today, Chris.
Yeah, and Brad Keselowski, his day, Kevin Harvick, an unfortunate mishap. I mean, he had never been lower than fourth before the issue with 14 to go. That opened the door for the 2-car. More from Atlanta in a moment. Here in Atlanta, Rodney Childers, the crew chief, consoling driver Kevin Harvick. Second most laps led in a race ever for Harvick, but it ends without a victory. There's Roger Penske, the owner, congratulating the victorious Brad Keselowski. Casey Kane, a good run at Atlanta, finishing fourth. Jamie is with him.
What an eventful day for Casey Kane. It seemed like you guys had good speed all weekend, but then you got a lap down. You were trapped there for a while, and once you got it back, what'd you feel and see in your car and your team?
Well, we started really slow. I was so loose, and the adjustments were perfect today. Fixed the car. Keith and the engineers, they did a great job of making the car better, a lot better at that. And but then we were behind, so it's you just battle long runs. It was tough, but we got the car a lot better. And then the pit stops were perfect there. We finally got the lucky dog, Matt. I had to battle Matt for that for a while, and he was fast. I knew he'd go to the front once he got it. But then once we got it, we did the same thing, and just had a great car. And the pit stop was our final pit stop, took us from 11th to 6th. That was key for a top 5, so that was really good.
Great job all around. Casey Kane brings it home fourth.
Well, the guys up in the booth said, storylines. How did Matt Kenseth get to the front? You earned this one today. How did you get there?
We had a good race car. Walt Camry was really decent all day. It's just whatever happened with our calculations on pit road speed. We got a couple penalties, got us a lap down, and just took about 3 hours to get our lap back. So once we finally got it back and got up front, we made a couple adjustments on it, and we were pretty decent. Just those guys got by me on the initial restart. It's hard to get rolling on that top lane, and just didn't have enough laps to get up there and quite race with them.
Nice work from the 20 team today.
Matt Kenseth now 0 for 29 in his career in Atlanta with all he's accomplished. Has a birthday coming up, but a good run for him. It's onto the West Coast swing after the first 2 races. So Las Vegas, by the way, we pick up where Brad Keselowski's won 2 of the last 3 races there.
And then we head over to Phoenix, where Kevin Harvick's always been strong. This 2017 season has started off with a bang. Just think about Daytona. Kurt Busch leads only 1 lap, the last one to grab the victory. Today, Brad Keselowski swipes one away from Kevin Harvick when he had those troubles late. I don't know what to expect heading west, but I know this new aerodynamic package on those 3 diversely different tracks is going to be interesting to follow.
Well, you talked about championship drivers being able to handle this track, and certainly Brad Keselowski did that. The speeding penalties, and he didn't have one, by the way. The 10 that we had, a number 8 drivers, and of course Kevin Harvick doing him in the end. You would say, hey, common sense, 45 miles per hour, slow down when you get down there. Not that easy.
No, it isn't that easy, because Kevin Harvick was trying to balance getting out of his pit stall. Remember, he said, I spun my tires. I knew I needed to be right on this pit road speed in order to take advantage of getting out of my pit and keeping the lead. Keeping the lead, Chris, was key. No matter if you have the dominant car or not, you get stuck on that outside on a restart, you'll lose ground.
Well, certainly Ford has sent a clear message that they're the manufacturer to watch to start this 2017 season. A good look from above at Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight on Fox. It's Bob's Burgers. Later, The Simpsons, Family Guy, and The Last Man on Earth. The winter premiere. Don't forget, next Sunday, Victory Lane coming up tonight on FS1 at 11 Eastern, and we'll be coming to you from Las Vegas Motor Speedway, then on to Phoenix, and then the Auto Club in Fontana, California, the West Coast swing. A family photo in Victory Lane for Brad Keselowski. For Michael Waltrip, our entire Fox crew, I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for being a part of NASCAR on Fox.